Green light. Yes. Greetings, spirit beings. Greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Television, the channel BC Kaufman, and on YouTube. This is part 2 of the broadcast live. Skype callers, Ave Satanas, Anonymous, Rodent, Satisfaction, and 2 others were there in the chat, but they stopped chatting with Ave Satanas, which means Hail Satan, so I already asked him about it. And now I'm wondering if real opposition to the New World Order would use names like Ave Satanas, so that they have the illusion that they're Satanists that are helping with the depopulation, to find out more, also to basically make themselves look like their enemy, basically, sort of profiling also, to find out what they're about and to infiltrate them, to prevent them from depopulating the earth, or at least themselves. So I could ask him that if I can reach him now. Now it should be better. It should work better than before. I call. I want to talk to Ave. Hello?
Hello?
Yo. Anonymous is also there. Please stay with us also. Anonymous has left the building again. So
no, he's got problems with his connection.
Perhaps a restart. I restarted now, so now it should work fine, but I'm looking for my microphone mute button. That's right here. So how are you, Anonymous?
Me?
Anonymous.
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah, how are you doing, and where are you calling from? I'm from the Netherlands, Mijdrecht, and I was wondering in what country you guys are.
I'm from Narnia.
What?
Norway?
Narnia.
Narnia, is that a country or?
Yeah, it's a place.
Narnia, in what country?
Is it like Middle Earth or war? Is it in the Middle Earth?
Yeah. You know, ProLogic, you don't know where Narnia is? Hello?
I have to unmute myself.
Narnia, yeah, I know.
My mic was muted. I was looking up Narnia. I don't know where it is now. And on Google, I get a genus of liverwort in the family. Anyway, not a country.
It's not a really well-known place.
Is it in the closet?
Is it in the what?
Well, are there many gay people around you?
Yeah, I mean, there's some gay people, and
Like that immigrant, right? The immigrant by the name of Aslan. I think
gay sex is allowed in public.
I'm a hetero, but I am pro same-sex marriage and gay rights, so I'm not homophobic. But I think in Russia, are you in Russia?
Did you look up Narnia?
Narnia. Well,
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, where? Well, I'm trying to find out where you guys are.
It's and where I live, like, gay sex is it's not against the law. It's okay to do it in public. I think in some places maybe it's not so good, but yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to find out where you guys are. I'm not homophobic myself. I'm pro gay rights, though I'm a heterosexual. And I was trying to find out where you are in what country, basically. Are you in Russia, Ave?
Okay, yeah.
And Anonymous, I don't know. Do you know where Anonymous is located? Perhaps his mic is not working.
Narnia.
Narnia, he said Narnia.
Nanya or Narnia?
Narnia.
Narnia.
Narnia. Google that then. Chronicles of Narnia. It's a series of 7 fantasy novels by C.S. Lewis. And Narnia, I think it's not a place, basically. It's not an existing place on Earth. Well, it doesn't really matter where you are, of course, only what you have to say. But can you fill us in, Anonymous, on what your location is, in what country you are? Not the city or exact location, but just that we have an idea. Because I like to communicate with people in Russia and the US and stuff. I think it's of this time that we have this.
I consider the country Narnia.
So
And how do I spell Narnia?
Narnia.
Ah, okay.
I think he's a pro-separation, pro-balkanization type of dude.
Pro-balkanization.
Dude, did you ask get balkanized last night?
No, but
What is balkanization? What is balkanization? I don't even know what balkanization is really, so I'm kind of behind on certain things because I always have my own way of investigating and looking at the news, etc. So I can Google balkanization.
Yeah, it's when countries separate. There is like a contention within the country borders, and people decide to separate from each other and organize groups or like even states that basically it's like the state or the country divided into some fractions, and this is called balkanizations. But I asked him, did his ass get balkanized last night? Because you can also balkanize somebody's ass just by spreading his butt cheeks and like inserting your penis inside of his asshole.
Well, it's just divide and conquer. It's always divide and conquer and problem reaction solution. The methods these Jesuits, Masons, and 6 Jews depopulating the Earth are using to gain power and depopulate Earth to a more enslavable number to impose their satanic Luciferian totalitarian global government, I think. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's possible.
Sometimes, you know, like when I think about this world government stuff, sometimes, and I know maybe this will sound disturbing, maybe this will sound kind of random, maybe this will sound, I shouldn't be saying, are you on live broadcast right now?
What?
Is this live broadcast? Like, is this?
You are on YouTube also, yeah, on the channel.
I think.
Or BC Hoffman _F_N on YouTube for Universal Peace.
Sometimes, you see, like sometimes it's like when I think about this world government and all this stuff, I just like to stick my finger near my butthole and kind of just stick it up, and it just kind of relieves all the stress and the pain, and it just makes me more happier. I don't know.
Yeah, but you have to use your balls too. You have to use your hand too. So you have to massage your balls and like stroke your dick while at the same time it would be better if somebody actually stuck a finger up your asshole while you stroking your dick and massaging your balls.
This is moralization, pure moralization.
Yeah, no, I know. But at the same time,
well, it is an idea. It is an idea. I think that sex is healing and stuff, but I'm into chicks, so this is more for me to communicate with other people about their global government. I have an anti-global government movement, and just to communicate with people in general, you know, like Alex Jones, Control the Position, has these callers in his show. The idea is to just have callers and talk about this stuff, about stuff going on right now as well.
Yeah. So if I may say something,
what has to happen?
I just think that sometimes, like, I mean, I can't recommend this. I do not recommend this. It depends on the individual. But in my case, I like to just stick my finger near my butthole, sometimes in a circular motion. And it makes me, it relieves all the stress, and I don't have to worry about world government. I don't have to worry about the Jews. You know, if I just do this, I just forget about the Jews and stuff like that. It just makes me feel more happy. Sometimes when I go on the internet and I read about the Jews, the Jesuits, the Vatican, the reptilians, and the Illuminati and stuff like this, I just say to them, they can well, I don't know what they can do, but
They can go fuck themselves. Perhaps that's better.
I have a message for Illuminati, and this is this.
Yeah, that means control the factors that control aging now.
Yeah. So I just like to put my finger in a circular motion near my butthole, and it makes me feel better. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anyone tries that. It's a technique I use, and it's a very strange one. And some might call me a deviant or a weirdo for this. They might call me a weirdo, but I'll tell you this. I don't know, man. I want to. Yeah, I like to stick my finger near my butthole. It makes me feel good.
Do you do that as well, Ave? Or do you have others? I like masturbation. I never stick my finger in my ass. And I'm also a hetero, so perhaps. But I think that if you're in Russia, that Putin is sort of homophobic. And former KGB, etc., or whatever, MI5 or whatever.
Yes, he's sort of phony, and some people actually fall for his tricks. But I wanted to ask you, while we're on the subject of homosexuality and depopulation, do you think that it's possible to suggest to people, or like to make something in the environment so that the children who will grow up, they will become like homosexuals, maybe because of some hormones released during the mother's, during the stress periods, when she's carrying a baby in her womb, and it's stressful. It's a lot of stress for her. For example, there are certain chemicals that can get released, certain hormones, and if, for example, she will have an overload of these, overdose of these chemicals, of these stressful hormones, it will actually have an effect on sexuality of her child. Do you think that just by creating, ultimately by creating a bad environment and maybe like putting some estrogen mimicking compounds in your food, in food basically, do you think that the people who want to depopulate the earth, do you think they actually do that? Do you think that they actually, I think that they actually like, they not only follow through with their plan of depopulation, but they're actually quite successful at it. Like, I think
they cannot be successful if like, you know, if there's good people who kind of just like, they put their finger and make a circular motion near their butthole, and then they kind of either sniff or lick it after. How can they take control of these type of people? These type of people are uncontrollable. These type of people are free thinkers. They're very good people. And the government, or whatever you want to call it, Illuminati, whatever, they can't touch those type of people. I mean, those type of people are different. And how can you control somebody that's different?
To answer Afe's question, I think that you have a no law, gay, Enola Gay, the Jesuits basically, and that they are also hypnotizing people to turn them into lesbians and homosexuals to depopulate the earth, to make sure they don't procreate. They're trying to create hordes of whores, etc., and to dumb down the populace. But that's not their main method. Sorry?
Is there something fundamentally wrong with these people in the first place if they were able to be brainwashed?
What was the whole question? The beginning? I didn't catch the beginning of your question. To be brainwashed?
For example, if somebody was brainwashed to become a deviant or something, and do you think that there was something fundamentally wrong with them in the first place? That propaganda or not propaganda they still would have been degenerates or deviants or something like this. Like there's just something fundamentally wrong with them.
Well, I just think we need moralization, stabilization, generating an economic surge, and demilitarization. I think that that there's nothing wrong with the people fundamentally, that they can all be programmed to help create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. And
Thank you, enter robots.
what in the traumas? Didn't catch that? In the traumas.
I think that the average person is a lemming, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, but
is what learning?
A lemming.
Lemon. You know, lemons who jump off the cliffs because I don't know why they actually do it, but you know, sometimes these little animals, they're like ferrets or something, like ferrets or maybe like gophers or something like this, and they actually like go the way of the dodo, so to speak. They just go jump off the cliff for some reason, because they have this sort of they are gregarious animals who have this the herd mentality.
Lemmings, okay.
Yeah, lemmings.
Good game, also nice computer game. Well, sometimes it seems like they are behaving like lemmings, because almost none of us are trying to control these factors that control aging. And some people are even trying to do the opposite, to depopulate Earth with all these depopulation techniques. And the list of pandemics.
Yeah. Wait a second. I have a question for you. Do you think that actually sex can help you slow down the aging process?
Yeah, I think that sex is healing, and it's also scientifically proven. Sperm is also healthy. That's also scientifically proven. So that is definitely something we should do. If there's nobody to love you, you have to love yourself. And never give up. I mean, there can be 100 turndowns, but then you might find the one you really like, and still get married and have a nice life.
How can I not give up if I'm masturbating? I mean, so like when I'm masturbating, it's very easy for me to give up. Masturbation makes it easier to quit. No, not to quit, but to give up on something, on yourself, for example, right?
You just need to do the circular motion.
No.
Our person.
Don't give up on yourself, never give up on yourself. It's just illogical, so we should use logic, basically. That reminds me of something about Spock.
Logic when we should like insert our penises into each other's butts, like for example, all our fingers, because we can actually show our logic up our asses. Like sometimes we also do that.
Pro logic, do you think that humanity is destined, like they're destined to be doomed?
No. I think that these 7 billion people will form real resistance despite controlled opposition to their depopulation, and that's because of evolution. It's ingrained in their system, the will to survive, the thrive to survive, and survival is all. That's what I also would say to these kids.
I honestly think that this world is getting worse each year and year. It's gonna just fall apart to the point where everything will just go to shit.
But Prologic, how do you reconcile the principle of evolution with the basic fact that everything that we see around us is almost destined to deteriorate, and basically the entropy sets in as soon as we start to walk out our cradles?
I think the process of evolution is not yet fulfilled. We still have a lot of time to go. And I thought what Anonymous said was more interesting. Why do you think the world will fall apart this year? Is that what you said? Because I've had...
this year, it's just getting worse and worse each year, and I think like this world is just going to get worse to the point where this fucking Illuminati, whoever these controls the world, they're just going to wrap it up and bring on their New World Order and everything kaput. That's what's going on.
And how are they going to bring that about then?
They will how will they use it? How will they do this? They will use authority.
authority? Do you think a world war over Iran, the two-state solution, world war, or over the nuclear agreement, or some other method, virus? I mean, how can they depopulate to 500 million? Which is what they're trying to do.
I'm not talking about not only just depopulation, but I'm talking about like they can use like I don't know, like they can use how do you want to say? I just want to use my words carefully.
The state's monopoly on violence.
Sorry?
The state's monopoly on violence, which means that they are the only ones. They've given themselves the authority to use violence, but the people cannot use violence against them. So basically, it's just a group of people that have given themselves absolute authority, and the people are slaves that have to do everything the government tells them to do, including depopulate the earth themselves, etc. So perhaps it will go on the way it did. You think they don't want a world war to prevent mutually assured destruction and a 7-year nuclear winter, perhaps? But my question would be, how could they push it through when these 7 billion people don't want to die? Then you will have real resistance. I think there is no other option.
Well, I mean, like, these Illuminati, they're so, I don't know, man. I think they're gonna, I think this world will be finished. I think they're gonna succeed in their new world order. I don't see resistance happening. I'm not saying resistance is futile or whatever as they say. I think it's all over. I think this world and everything is kaput, and I think maybe I don't know if you're religious or not. I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ. The only way I see that things can be fixed is through a divine intervention. I don't see it any other way. I think it's only divine intervention, and
I think the opposite of everything you just said may be true.
I just don't see it, man. When I see humanity, I'm not saying all humans are like bad or inherently like, you would say, brainwashed, or they're just lemmings. But I don't know, man. It's just the average person's just, they just seem, I don't know. But man, I think that good people or good quality people are in the minority in this world. That's what I believe. Like good quality people with decency. Not that they have to be so intelligent, like a genius, but just some sort of common sense and decency and good heart. I don't know. It just seems like
I think most
less and less people.
Yeah.
Less and less people.
I think most people are. I think most people are not murderers, and most people are good. So I think that they've brainwashed you, Anonymous, to a little extent, perhaps.
Like they might not be murderers, but it doesn't mean they're a good person. It's not about just crimes. It's about like the way the person is, like their personality and stuff. You know what I mean? Like their heart, their person, like I don't know, their character. That's what I mean. And it's the majority. The way I see it, the majority of people serve themselves. Like they only like. It seems like most people in general are individualists. They only care about themselves and nothing else. And this kind of mentality, in a way, it's kind of cancerous. I'm not a collectivist by any means, but most people are inherently selfish, I believe. I think it's just the way most people are wired. Like I think it's just how it is. Like they just if they won't do something, they won't do something for somebody unless it personally benefits them. That's how most people are.
I think they've been programmed to be this way, and it's by the people that try to divide and conquer everyone. They're always the ones to tell you who your enemies are, and they're never the ones to fight and to die, etc.
They couldn't think for themselves in the first place.
So I think you're right about that many people are selfish, only thinking about themselves. They have no sense of doing the right thing, of pressing charges against people that make clear in book quotes they want to get rid of 93% of the world's global population. And they're just tyrannizing each other and themselves, etc. It's kind of, they're fucked up because of their programming with hypnosis and torture, etc. So trust no one, nothing is what it seems. But I think you guys are also saying sensible stuff, so it's quite interesting. Do you think that they will impose their New World Order global government this year?
No, I don't know about this. I'm not. No, definitely not by this year. But I think it will happen. I think it will actually happen. Like, it will happen.
Mm-hmm. And do you think a world war for Iran is not in the cards, that it can't happen for some reason? And what would that reason be? Why would a world war for Iran not be in the cards?
I don't know much about the situation with Iran, so I cannot comment.
I think that the Iran war, I think it only happens if Iran starts to become more successful sort of country. If China and Iran, for example, they become more successful, it would mean that, for example, the USA wouldn't get some of their supply some of the resources from them or from somebody else, or they will just have a competitor, and this is why they have to take their competitor out.
Well, I would think that if they become more successful, then that would be less reason for a war. If they are not in poverty situation, if they're not what some people call shithole countries, which may be Schiphol countries, basically, it's the Dutch airport. That they misunderstood. But if they're not what they call third world countries, though there's only one world, they call it third world countries, then there's less ground for war. And it also has to do with the law in the country. If the country is corrupt, with corrupt people that control the judges with directed energy weapons, then some people are going to wake up. They cannot fool all the people all the time, and they're going to try to take out these people that are abusing this relatively new technology, synthetic telepathy and directed energy weapon torture, and unite against them because they realize that they're exterminated, they're done themselves if they don't. So they're never going to give up.
They control the judges with directed energy?
Yeah, absolutely. With scalar weapons, wireless energy of Nikola Tesla, the death ray of Nikola Tesla.
I know what directed energy weapons are. I'm well aware of it. I know it's, but I mean, it's like, what do you mean? How do they control judges with this? If a judge does something that Illuminati is not, or these powers that be are not happy with, they just fuck with them?
Well, they use synthetic telepathy, so voice to skull messages, and directed energy weapon torture. And they also have deals with judges and people at the top. So there was another thing I wanted to say about it. I forgot that at the moment.
Okay, I just wanted to interject and say, even though we already moved past the subject of being selfish and selfishness, but I just wanted to say that I think that the word selfish itself is kind of a red herring. I mean that some people, well, these people who actually rule an elite, they like to induce a feeling of helplessness in these people, and they like to induce in them certain desires for things that they do not need. Like they like to promote the consumeristic mindset and lifestyle, and this is why people do not live the lives that they actually want to be living, and they actually they're pretty pissed off because even when they think that they follow in their own will or they follow their own desires, in fact they're following the artificial manufactured sort of stimulation from the outside.
The artificial intelligence. The AI.
No, I'm saying that they follow the stimuli from the outside, and they do not even know what they actually want. So they don't like to reflect on it. They don't, because it's very easy to act on your urges, since, like, for example, some of the basic biological sort of, I would say, not instincts maybe, but some of that nature is activated, sort of. I won't say instincts, because I don't believe in instincts per se. I think that there are no actual instincts. We have like reflexes, but, like, for example, kids may not know the danger of this or that. They may not have the fear of heights, for example, and they may actually jump from a balcony or something. I don't think that we have like sufficient proof for like instincts. I know about like amygdalas, and I mean some of these centers in the brain that for example, associated with sexual gratification, or like the anxiety, but it's not like only amygdala. It's like very complicated mass of like neurons or something, I'm not sure what's your opinion about like instincts, and would you say that a lot of what we call selfishness is not actually selfishness, but basically your false ego, false self taking control over you, and you acting in such a manner that you think that the parasitical mentality or mindset is your own, and you fulfilling your own wishes and desires, even though you clearly just obeying your basic instincts, and something that the masters had already implemented and had already set up for you.
They want to get rid of this instinct, this self-preservation, thrive to survive instinct that people have because of evolution. They are willing to do almost anything to survive, because the other species that didn't do that didn't survive, and it is, some claim it's necessary to kill to survive. When we walk, then we kill millions of bacteria, etc. But what I also wanted to say was about brain control, which is often left out because people are brain controlled, that many targeted individuals think it's done with microwaves, but in reality they are using scalar waves, wireless energy of Nikola Tesla, and the scientists agree wireless energy exists. Some of them might still think that scalar waves don't exist, but it's in fact the same thing. Yeah, so I think that their thrive to survive is installed in them, and that's a good thing, that everybody has a right to life, well-being, and education. So I think that the measurable age should be 18 worldwide. And
I actually don't think that there is any actual thrive to survive or any kind of instinct to prosper, because I'm not instinct to prosper, but basically something that some program or something that to prosper. Because, for example, a lot of people they become addicted to some substances, or maybe to some behavior that does not actually benefit them in the least. And we don't see a lot of progress as far as human psychology, and I mean, we don't see a lot of progress in the actual real world. We see mostly like regress and like de-evolution and not the evolution. So I think that evolution is not, it's a valid theory. I think it's yeah, of course, but it's not complete. There's like some pieces that are missing from it. I'm not by any means like a very educated person. I probably shouldn't have opened my mouth about it, and but I did. So even though I sound foolish, but I think that the evolution is not like the end all be all theory, even though I kind of adhere to it, but only because I don't have like enough evidence for something else, and I'm not able to come up with any idea of my own that will actually improve on and build on this theory of evolution, for example.
Yeah, I think they're using chemical cancer-causing prescription drugs to depopulate the Earth, so that.
So I'm saying that it's very easy to fall back into your old habits. It's very easy to be just a habitual man. It's very easy to follow sort of the mechanisms that you have instilled in yourself. It's very easy to be conditioned and just follow your condition through. But it's not very easy to actually develop, even to adapt sometimes can be a challenge. I know that like one of the first and foremost known characteristics or qualifications of human nature is adaptability, but a lot of people are maladapted and a lot of people do not actually possess the strength or mental fortitude or mental strength to actually change something in their life. And a lot of people just get stuck in a rut and they do not do anything. And it's not because of some technology that take away, for example, your will, your, I don't know, willpower or something. It's because you do not have enough sort of drive on your own to maybe achieve something or to do something. And this is why, like, for example, my friend here, he told you about like the divine intervention, and a lot, I think in a lot of cases, when you really like strive for something, you do not get it because you are so efficient at something, even though that may be the case. But it's also because there are some like element to it that is not like completely, I don't know, maybe materialistic or something.
I forgot to turn my mic on the previous time. I was saying that I think they are using chemical cancer-causing prescription drugs to depopulate the Earth as well, and that many people are conditioned. So I did a self-hypnosis, and people can use hypnosis. And I haven't cried since that hypnosis. I don't know if that's a good idea.
What do you mean by
Using
hypnosis? What do you mean by hypnosis?
self-hypnosis, so just basic hypno. For example, at the count of 0 you're hypnotized, and then counting from 10 to 0 and putting yourself under hypnosis. There are several techniques, and then programming yourself so that nobody but yourself can hypnotize you without your written permission. So then you first have to give your written permission before other hypnotists can hypnotize you, which is done with synthetic telepathy, so they don't want people to experiment with it or to know about it. But that's the first thing you could argue we have to do, to reprogram ourselves to be who we want to be.
Do you think somebody can be? Do you think a person can be mind controlled or influenced in such a way to, what do you want to say, to do something that's against their own self-interest and to bring themselves like harm or destruction or even death? You know what I mean by this, or no?
Yeah, I was busy with my microphone level because the button on this microphone seems to, even when it's soft, okay, like this it's okay. I think they can be programmed, of course, with hypnosis. They can have programming. Fritz Springmeier maybe control the position, so it may not be the complete truth. Their hypnotic triggers and stuff might not be the ones they're actually using. But they can be programmed to be mind-controlled slaves that depopulate the Earth, so murderers, etc., unicorns, if we believe Fritz Springmeier. And it may be true that some prostitutes, unicorns, may be murderers. And if they stop murdering, then they'd kill themselves. So it's part of hypnotic programming and also done with directed energy weapons. For example, Mengele programming, they are shown how other children are killed when they don't do the will of the slave driver, basically, in front of the eyes of the other children that then do the will of the slave driver so they don't get killed, basically. So that's how they're programmed to be these serial killers and tyrants that are trying to help with the depopulation and to make people kill themselves, etc. So I think that's happening as well, and I'm trying to deprogram as well. That's part of my anti-global government movement. I think the timeline I'm trying to create in which maximum fulfillment will be bestowed on all organisms and we will all live happily eternally, which is possible because everything is energy. That's the theory. Yeah, of course, I'm bloody serious about it. It's a real war, not an info war when people are poisoning you and trying to depopulate you and play you out against each other. It's really going on at the moment. People are separated. We now talk, we're 3 people. We're not millions of people strong, basically. Though one idea is to make the anti-global government movement to split ourselves up, not to have one leader, and not to be a group that they can get rid of. My microphone level seems to be adjusted automatically. How do I turn that off? That's really annoying. Fuck. So that's done by these tyrants also, I think. They make this programming so that my volume control is not professional anymore, so that it's adjusted to too soft, basically. And I'm also listening to the Skype callers via this microphone, because otherwise it gives other problems. Yeah?
Do you consider yourself as a TI?
I definitely used to be frequently tortured. I used to be a targeted individual.
What makes you think why did they stop with you? Why?
Well, I don't think they've completely stopped. I think that there are things that I could do that would trigger more torture. But everybody is a targeted individual. Everyone without a Tesla plasma shield is a targeted individual. But the point was that they've done it less now. So I hope that President Trump can also help to bring an end to this targeting of people with directed energy torture weapons.
Do you think...
I'm completely against all forms of torture. Completely against it. Do I think that what?
What's your take on spirituality? What do you look into? Are you into spirituality or no?
I'm anti-religion, but we should get rid of religion through education. And I think that the state cannot make religion forbidden because it's a concept, basically. And as long as they're not advocating killing all members of the other group, they usually claim they're not advocating that, but in reality jihad has already been declared. And we see these 6 Jews that want to depopulate the earth. And the torture and the wars are going on and all that shit that we don't need. It costs money and cuts us off from control of the factors that control aging.
I see. What do you think about, for example, let's just say somebody's targeted with directed energy 24/7. How long do you think it would take until that person would just drop?
They can kill me, but they do this to prevent me from being able to press charges against people that advocate getting rid of 93% of the world's global population. They show you what happens to people that attempt to do so. So they don't want me dead. They can easily kill people with brain bleedings and heart attacks. They are torturing me this way, also with hybrid insect microelectromechanical systems, to show to the world that you can't mess with the Skull and Bones, Jesuits and Masons and these 6 Jews depopulating the earth that are all working together. So there are many people that pretend to be Christians and Muslims and Jewish leaders, etc. But in reality, many of them are Luciferians, and they give each other the best jobs instead of the best person, you know, and they keep people in cycles of poverty and are depopulating the earth. 11 kids die every minute of starvation, of hunger, according to the hungersite.com. Yeah, so I think we need to unite. I think it's better to unite, and I think they're torturing me to death anyway, so I have nothing to lose. And I'm trying to expose them to the maximum extent possible.
So you're still being targeted with DEWs, yes?
Yeah, regularly. Because if I turn on my left side, then there are spasms to the left side of my head, which I can hear on my pillow and feel on my hand. So I'm 100% certain they're also still targeting me, but the horrible dental torture is behind me now. So they've tortured all my teeth out of my mouth and my mother to death with these weapons, in attempts to silence me. It's part of their no-talk programming. So, but there's less torture now than there was. So people are inclined not to call themselves targeted individuals, because then that they think it's really bad if they are labeled targeted individuals, so they try to hide it. It's like they are trying to attack body parts, for example, genitalia, because people are reluctant to talk about it. So they use all kinds of very smart neural network, artificial intelligence, concocted strategies and techniques. And they are unbeatable. They control these judges. So you cannot use legal methods to defeat these people. It's like the movie V. You have to infiltrate and radiate, basically, if you want to prevent them from depopulating Earth to 500 million. And it's just best to get that radiological water filter and storable food, just in case. And though nuclear weapons, airborne nuclear weapons might not exist, even if they don't, scalar weapons have made nuclear weapons obsolete. So it would be a scalar world war, and none without a Tesla plasma shield would survive it. So that's why they would want to prevent that, because there are 15 scalar weapon countries. So that's often not talked about because of the brain control and torture. But do you think nuclear weapons, the airborne nuclear weapons, are real or fake?
Man, you know what? Like I've heard theories on both sides. I can't. I know. Like this might sound like, I don't know. This might sound like BS or whatever, but I can't prove it and I can't disprove it. I'm just gonna say that it's a possibility that they exist, and it's a possibility that they don't. I don't know. Like I don't know, man. Like it's like. Yeah,
me neither. I'm not sure that they do or do not exist either, really.
Yeah, same thing with me. Like I don't know. Like I'm not sure. Have you heard of the flat Earth theory?
And still, I have a radiological water filter, but a small fucking straw, so I wouldn't make it long either. Of the what theory? Hollow Earth?
Flat Earth.
Flat Earth.
Flat.
Well, I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I've heard of it, of course. It's total bullshit. There are 3 easy ways you can prove to yourselves beyond any reasonable doubt that the Earth is oblong, almost a perfect sphere, like the moon. When you look at the moon, then you can see these craters, proving that the moon is spherical as well.
Sure.
And these methods are overlooking a bay, and then the buildings on the other side, if it's a big bay, seem to be partially underwater because of the Earth's curvature, and the other one is the Coriolis effect. So you have tornadoes spinning in opposite directions on both halves of the Earth, basically. In the northern hemisphere, they spin counterclockwise, and in the southern hemisphere, they spin clockwise. Also, if you drain a pool and put ink in it, then you see that. So that proves beyond any reasonable doubt that the Earth is spherical. And they mix that with the Apollo moon landing hoax, because it's proven beyond any reasonable doubt that the Apollo moon landings are fake. NASA faked it, and they're faking more things. I've done broadcasts about all their hoaxes, and they're Freemasons in reality. They're Luciferians, you see.
I think that nukes are real, but the power of their impact is exaggerated or overrated. Maybe because the nature itself is like stronger than the human nature. Like the human nature can be that strong as the actual nature, the nature, our environment is stronger, and people, I think that they may be approaching like this stage where they can actually create something that will harm nature, like permanently, but I don't think it's nukes. I don't think that nukes just like almost by default, because
listen to your cat warning you. Because I think that they can, even though if nukes are not real, they've patented nuclear-sized explosions with these directed energy weapons, and they can make ionizing radiation, so they can make it look to everyone as if it was a nuke that went off, also with TNT and other explosives. And they can use these weapons to simulate that and depopulate the Earth more selectively that way. And then you would still need a radiological water filter, because the water will still be contaminated. And that stuff's real, but you'd also have to be underground on time. So when this is going down, then people should go into a bomb shelter or a cellar below the blast wave, because otherwise they're wiped out for sure. Because I've checked, and it is true that if they bomb Amsterdam with a Tsar Bomba, then Mijdrecht would also be blown away. And that's what I've seen possibly in a precognitive vision, where at one moment I was sitting on my back and the next moment everything turned black. Yet it's when you are having a precognitive vision, it's like you're really there. So you're experiencing it the way it will happen in the future. And I've had that several times. And I don't know if that's my own capability or neural network, but I am certain that people have seen the future and that it is possible. So I am also sure, I'm not too sure, but 99% certain that time is also energy. I am certain time is possible because I've had these precognitive visions, and I'm just trying to do groundbreaking work to to come up with new ideas that will save us all and turn this timeline into what we all want it to be. Yeah. So breathing is important. I think I need to just calm down. There's almost nobody that will see this broadcast. Perhaps one day I will get famous and then I will have millions of viewers to all these broadcasts. So I do my best. It also makes sense to just give it your all, whatever you're doing, to make it turn out the way you want it to be, and to produce quality stuff and not some shitty broadcast about another subject nobody is interested in, with all kinds of mumbo jumbo and fakery and illusions mixed in it, etc. So they mixed that Apollo moon landing hoax, the fake Apollo moon landings, with the flat Earth to give the illusion that it's all bullshit, that you are a conspiracy wacko if you repeat these facts, the top 10 top 10 of things that prove that Apollo moon landings are a hoax, a scam, fake. If you repeat these things, then they claim you're a flat earther instead of... so changing the subject is another one of their methods. Yeah, so I'm convinced that that's proven by Apollo videos of NASA, where you can hear sound on the moon, which is impossible because on the moon there's a vacuum, so there is no air on the moon, so you can't hear sound. And in several NASA videos, you can see an astronaut moving a plate, and you can hear that plate falling, and it proves beyond any reasonable doubt that they were not on the moon. It was recorded in the studio. Also, you hear Jim Morrison, for example, out here in the perimeter there are no stars. You can see on many NASA videos where there should be stars, you don't see any, not even the tiniest little fucking star, because that would prove it's man-made. It would be very hard to put all these stars in the correct position, etc. So it is still pretty hard to fake it. So I'm certain the Apollo moon landings are fake. I'm not too certain that Hubble is also fake, that there are air bubbles coming from spacesuits of astronauts. It's just done by Masons, also Chinese Masons with their Chinese moon rover. That's clearly fake as well, if you ask me. But I'm not 100% certain about these things because I haven't done enough research yet. I am 100% certain about Apollo moon landings are fake. Okay?
What are your predictions for China?
Phew, that's the first time I'm thinking about this. Well, if there is a world war, then that's horrible for everyone. Do any of you have? Perhaps you should turn my level down or something, because I'm hearing myself via feedback. Oh, yeah, it was via anonymous. Okay, anonymous. I would like to keep anonymous with us, but he seems to have trouble with his connection.
So how was New Year? How was your New Year?
Was that your question about China? I think it's an interesting question. Well, my good New Year's resolution is to have sex this year with some hot single chick, if possible, nice lady. And I'm in Mijdrecht, so. But what do you think about China? I was going to say, if there's a world war for Iran and Rothschild has already sold off his U.S. assets and bought cancer oil in South America.
I think that people who say that China will be the next new empire or something, I think they grossly exaggerate the China, because I think they have lots of inner problems. They have lots of basic problems that will not allow them. Like they do not. I don't think that the country with that many people in it, they value human life very much. I think that even from what I know, they do not actually consider the price of human life that high as we do. I think that as high as we do, but I think that they also have lots of divisions within their own country. And I basically think that soon, I know it's not like communism right now, but it still has some communistic vestiges. But I think that there will be some kind of basically either balkanization, separation of like the division of country into small fractions, or like a few countries or something like this in China, or something like I don't know, of that sort. But I think that 2018 will be like a very interesting year. It will be even more interesting than the 2016 when Trump came into office. Not because it was surprising to me because Trump actually won the presidential election, but because of the shitstorm that he started, and because of how quickly things started to change in terms of not only political landscape, but basically, yeah, about even though they still have some legislations and they still try to push some legislations that are very leftist sort of. I think that we see the tendency to push the envelope to the right more than to the left. I think this is where the overtone window is right now, and I think it will be. And the sort of civic nationalism and conservatism are the ways of the future right now. Not only for like countries like USA, but basically for countries like Poland, and also for countries like well, I don't know. I don't want to say shit about like Russia, because obviously it will be very slanted and biased, because I'm already like sort of.
You're already sort of what? Yeah, I'm there. Yo, welcome, Rodent Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah.
You're from the US?
Yeah. I'm from the US.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm from.
cool of you to join us.
From Narnia, though. I told Logic I was from Narnia.
Yeah, because he's a homosexual faggot.
No, you know what? Guess what, dude? Maybe there's nothing wrong with putting your finger around your butthole and making a circular motion. I do it. You have a problem with that?
That's really cool.
I'm anti-homophobia, so I'm glad you're all there to have some different opinions. No, we don't have to have the same opinion about everything. But
have you ever had sex with a man?
No, I cannot get it up with men. So, and I am totally hetero in reality. I've had sex with two wonderful women, and I will forever love them. They are awesome.
But you say you're anti-homophobia.
No, I'm anti-homophobia. That's correct. Yeah. So I'm a hetero anti-homophobe.
Like to be totally like anti-homophobia, you have to have sex with a man to prove like you're, like that, to prove yourself, to prove your worth.
No, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. Not even myself, you could argue. So I don't believe that. I think people cannot help their sexual preference. Therefore, we should not judge each other on our sexual preference, but on our merit, on what we're actually achieving for ourselves in the world.
Add to your sexual preferences. Add to your sexual preferences. Like you can actually like experience sex with a man if you do a little of soul searching, a little of introspection. You may find that some of the men are more attractive than other men, and you may actually want to engage in a sexual activity with them, and you might actually like get down and dirty with them. And when you start getting down and dirty, oh my God, there's a big catch there. Your dick is starting to getting bigger and bigger, and since it starts getting bigger and bigger, you may find that there is something else to it, and you may try to savor the sexual act, and you may not find the males as disgusting as they are to be disgusting. Because I think that you have a lot of anti-male sort of preference. It's not only sexual preference, but I think that society is basically right now is more like a gynocentric, anti-male, matriarchal society. We are not what we once were. Right now we are more like moving towards, even though we are conservatives, but people still have this sort of preference for women. And I think it's not healthy if you don't have, at the same time, like desire to be with a man. Because, for example, you may find that sex with the males, your male companion, may be as equally pleasuring, equally enjoyable as sex with a woman, because you just have to find a correct, right partner, I guess. I think that you're being a bigot here when you don't want to get down and dirty with some nice young sort of whippersnapper.
I think that's very bigoted of you, actually. Like, it's not progressive at all.
Yeah, I think he just needs to learn how to become more homosexual, and then he'll become more accepted.
No. I'm totally hetero. I cannot get it up with males, and I never will. I know that it's just evolution or whatever.
I started having more butt sex, and honestly, I won't lie. For me personally, I think it enriches my life. Like, I'm not even kidding, dude. Like, I went from.
I think there's like an ancient like esoteric science in there. When someone jizzes up your ass, right? Your colon like absorbs that like semen, and like it's good for your bones, your teeth, your skin, your organs, your heart. It's universal like elixir of life.
Yeah, but that explains why I feel so much better after I get a good, you know what.
And you can give choco pies to kids.
Yeah, what?
Give choco pies to kids.
What is my advice for children? You mean?
Yeah.
Don't let them tell you what you are. Just it will come naturally, and I think it's kind of weird that you have 10-year-old kids that think they are transgender. They don't have orgasms yet. They don't know what their sexual preference is yet. So that's weird in my opinion.
Alfred Kinsey proved you wrong. He made like a little baby come like 20 times in like within an hour. Alfred Kinsey, you know who that is?
Yeah. Very cool guy.
No, does ProLogic know who he is?
I don't believe it, so I don't care who he is, basically, to tell you the truth. But I am pro-gay rights, but I don't think it's an interesting subject with possible world war over Iran looming, and I think that's more interesting.
Fuck Iran, they can all get nuked, man. We're caring about gay people.
Well, if they do that, then the fallout would reach you as well. It would be mutually assured destruction. 7-year nuclear winter. There's nothing wrong with hate as long as they don't do anything illegal.
Logic, like we've seen your dad a few times, right?
In my videos, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, what about your mom? Where is she?
They've tortured her to death with directed energy weapons, so she would claim she went to heaven. Basically, she thinks she thought she would go to paradise. She led a good life. Also, she had nerves. When did she die? Or where did she die? I didn't understand your question.
When? What year and month?
I don't even remember. I didn't go to the burial because I rather remember her alive, basically. She was awesome. I had an awesome mother. But she was the best mother for me.
You were still a child when she died?
No. It was pretty recent, like 8 years back or so.
Oh shit! And what did the hospital say? Like, they won't say directed energy weapons. Like, what did they say she died from?
Well, basically, she used to describe the attacks that they did on her with these directed energy weapons, and they later did them to me as well.
Yeah, okay, but what symptoms was she going through?
Well, she thought she had rheumatism, arthritis, and
so according to her, they were attacking her bones, right?
Right, so it's attacks of the central nervous system, bones, just making people age faster, cell degradation, lumping red blood cells, etc.
How was her heart that time? Did she complain about her heart?
Yeah, I think she also complained about it, but not the main thing, basically. I don't remember her complaining about her heart, as a matter of fact.
You don't remember her complaining about the heart, yeah?
No, she would talk about palpations of the chest and other symptoms.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Also dental torture, etc.
Wait, Prologic, if I'm mistaken, like you don't have your teeth, as I remember correctly, right? They were all like microwaved out of your mouth, right?
Well, they were tortured out with wireless energy, so not microwaves. It's impossible to do that with microwaves. They use the FIPA array.
Sorry, but they use something to like
frequency-independent phased array antennas, through-the-wall radar, and that's put in pulsed energy projectile mode to induce the maximum amount of pain by stimulating the nerves directly.
Did you get cavities when they were doing this shit, or no?
The two separate dentists drilled holes in my teeth that they didn't fill. So yes, it causes dental tooth decay, etc. And also, it's not very visible on the video because they're very small, but I have some birthmarks, also this birthmark here. That's in line with these little birthmarks along my upper jaw. That's caused by the dental torture, and also when people use a cancer cell phone.
So when you began being hit with directed energy weapons, you have more birthmarks now?
Right, I think that the birthmarks I have are caused from the directed energy weapon torture and monitoring and shit.
Christ, I have that too. That is fun. Within this last year or a year and a half since it started, I'm getting like more birthmarks.
Put everything in airplane mode. You can see if people are left or right-handed. If they use a cancer cell phone, that produces birthmarks on that side of their head. And you also have these point of view drone flyers that have a helmet on, and that irradiates them with gigantic amounts of that shit, and that's really causing cancer. Also, you can see it on the MRI scans that they have tumors on the side where they kept their cancer cell phone to their head.
Or no?
Do I have cancer? I used to have cancer, for which they've treated me with chemotherapy. So that's why I have less hair on top of my head.
Where did you have cancer though? Like in what body part?
Mainly the legs. Yeah, in my legs mainly. But it, they've cured it with chemo, basically. There are several types of chemo. Some are deadly. You can see Patrick Swayze and others that received chemo and after that they died. So you also have to combine it with the proper natural foods and get off chemical cancer-causing prescription drugs, use colloidal silver, and do an anti-cancer diet if you don't want cancer. Because
chemotherapy totally kills you, I heard.
1 in 2 people will get cancer according to Medscape. So that's just the statistics. 1 in 2. And some types of chemo are deadly. They are to depopulate the earth, and sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. But in my case, and 83% of the B-cell lymphoma cases, this type of chemo cured the patients. So that's why I went along with it.
When you had chemo, what was the procedure? Did they inject you with chemotherapy drugs or what?
Yeah, they were IVs, poison IVs. You could argue.
Did you recover after that or no?
Well, I think that I've not completely recovered from that yet. That's also clear from my hair. Though I feel, and there is hair also on top of my head, I like to shave it off regularly because I think it's too thin on top still. So I have to wait another year or 3 or whatever and eat health food and the Mijdrecht diet, Hüttenkäse with flaxseed and flaxseed oil. That's also an anti-cancer diet, so that's good to do. Perhaps I'll get some food later, and I'll let you guys chat. And it's live on YouTube on my channel, Orgbc Hoffman, FFN on YouTube. So yeah, but there won't be many viewers, or at least I cannot predict it. You could argue, but well, we'll see how many viewers. And others can also call me Prologic999 to get into this broadcast, to chat with us all. And then we can see how many chatters can be live in a broadcast. Perhaps that would be fun.
Yeah, Prologic, listen, what do you think of the dailystormer.com? You don't like that website, right? Because it's anti-Semitic, right?
Well, actually, I do like it compared to other websites.
Yeah,
but
I really love that site.
It is... What of that website?
dailystormer.com.
Yeah. Basically, they have some interesting information as well. So I only look at the interesting information, not at the racism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. I'm only seeking intelligence, and I also study more pro-left websites. Although I could get into that more, and others. But I'm basically looking for somebody that also exposes these Jesuits and Masons and controlled opposition. That's actually trying to do the right thing, basically, to prevent.
But Jews are above Masons.
Depends on how you look at it. But you can argue that these people that want to depopulate the earth are not real Jewish people. And I don't believe in the concept, so I don't believe that one is chosen by God and the others are not. And we should all recognize we're the human race and equal rights for all and separation of church and state. I think that's vital to create a perfect society in which maximum fulfillment is bestowed upon everyone.
How about separation of races?
We're all the human race. We're all the human race, like I said, so we shouldn't separate ourselves. And we should regulate the influx of immigrants. So it's already split up in these countries. So we should be careful that they don't play them out against each other and produce another war or even a world war, which may be the Jesuits' goal, actually. Satanic, Luciferian, totalitarian, global government. And they were expelled, like the Jewish people were expelled. But I'm not blaming all Jewish people for what 6 Jews that want to depopulate the earth are doing, nor do I advocate exterminating any group. I'm advocating the opposite: control of the factors that control aging, stop wars, stop spending on the military, and channel it for a better timeline, for a better future for all, including yourself. And be wiser than serpents. That's one of my slogans. Yeah, so what do you all think about it? Will there be a world war? What way do you think that they can ever pull off a global government power to the pedo instead of power to the people? They want centralization versus decentralization. And fascism is the antonym of democracy.
Pull off a one world government.
they can fall for one world government. Who do you mean with they? And so we shouldn't generalize whole countries. I think there are good people in China.
Or whatever you say, Masons, Jesuits, or whatever, they can pull off a one world government. Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think it's gonna happen for sure.
But I think they gotta get rid of all white people first, like almost all white people.
Well, I think they cannot. I think they cannot pull it off.
Then they gotta get rid of all religions and shit, and then they'll have it. But then like all the primitive like what's it called? The primitive nature of the blacks and niggers and Arabs and all that shit. Eventually, they just won't like it, and they'll see Jews as whites, and they'll just start slaughtering all these Jews, Masons, Jesuits, and then it's gonna be total anarchy and chaos. That one world government, it might work for a bit, but then it will like inevitably collapse, and it will just be total chaos and shit. Race wars, religious wars, and all that. There's just some people you can't just reform their thought pattern because that's just the way they're born.
Yeah, good points. Good point.
I think some people.
Can you show me your dentures, please?
Well, I've already shown it in previous broadcasts, so.
But
I can.
Podcasts that are like 3 hours long.
If we dance. Sorry?
Yeah. Oh, nothing. But what if I may make a point? Rodents. I'm not trying to like talk shit or anything, but just but like you know who owns that website, right?
Yeah, definitely controlled opposition.
Yeah.
But out of all the other like right wing websites, it's still they speak like 70%. There's like 60% maybe of the truth.
Yeah, I to be honest, I see like all these websites like Renegade, Daily Storage.
Shit, I haven't been on that website for so long.
I see it all as garbage.
In Germany, they've started arresting. In Germany, they've started arresting old ladies that deny the Holocaust, like Miss Haverbeck and the other chick with the ponytails. It's weird.
Yeah, she was a Canadian citizen. Her first name is Monica, I think, and they arrested her. She's in the detention. Yeah, it's messed up.
So what do you think of that? Is it right to put someone in jail for denying the Holocaust? I mean, most people go along with the idea that the Holocaust.
First of all, I think it's freedom of speech. So you can deny that shit, right? The Holocaust. Second of all, the Holocaust wasn't the worst genocide to have happened. I can name the Russian genocide, the Ukrainian genocide, the 20-year German war, where many, like, I can name Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you can name the war in Iraq, Iran, where more than 6 million people died within 2 years, essentially. They were a lot more awful than the Holocaust, and third, I just don't think it happened.
And the Native American Indian Holocaust, basically,
exactly.
in America.
Native American, they suffered a lot more than Jews. They're almost completely wiped out, right?
Well, basically, we can remember all of these also on the day that the Second World War is remembered, because it's closer to this time, to here and now, basically. So I can understand that. So it's an idea to transform that more into remembering all Holocausts and looking at how we can prevent that, basically, preventing generalization. I did a broadcast about how to prevent genocide and democide. I want to prevent culling and depopulating of planet Earth, yeah. Preventing beats curing.
No, like, I mean, a Holocaust on Jews would be good, though, like an actual Holocaust on Jews. Then, like, if you get rid of the Jews, then depopulation will stop.
No, I don't think so. I think there are many others involved. The Jesuits and Masons may be the main antagonists. And then you have the Committee of 300, the subversive body of the Club of Rome, with Margaret Chan and George Soros.
The Jews are at the top of the pyramid, dude. The Jews are at the top of the pyramid.
Wait, but
Jesuits and
prological,
what if the how do you know? I mean, why are the Jesuits and Masons not on top of the pyramid? This man Adolfo Nicholas, for example.
Jews hide under the cover of Masons and Jesuits and all that shit. To be a 33-degree Mason, you gotta be a Jew. That's like standard. That's even in their book. Like the Masonic doctrine or whatever.
And what?
Hold up, Prologic, hold up.
In what book?
Huh?
What's the title of the book?
Hold on a sec.
Can I imagine if what if?
Yeah, imagine if you were walking like in the forest and shit, and you see like a Freemason tied up. Would you like fuck him in the ass and like slit his throat, or what would you do?
Well, I'd see it as the white light of Lucifer, of course, the nuke, and the nuke bringer. So
No,
you know what I do.
If you see him like tied up in the forest, would you like rape him and like stab him and beat him and like piss on him, or no? Or what would you do?
If I saw a Jew or a Mason?
Yeah, a Mason.
A Mason.
In the forest, like tied up.
Well, how would I recognize that it's a Mason? That's one of the problems with these people.
Well, imagine like if you were like you watch like some documentaries, right, and you see like some famous Mason, like you recognize his face, and then you're walking in the forest and you recognize that guy's face, and he's like tied up.
Do any of you know any names of Masons that are alive today? Any names? Name me one.
No, they try to hide that shit though.
Yeah, Richard Pryor is one, and they let me know that one because I like his acting and stuff. He's pretty nice, really. So they only put out there what they want you to see.
Would you fuck Richard Pryor in the ass, and like if you saw him tied up in the forest and shit, and like piss on him and shit?
With a dildo for $1 million, sure. Because I can't get it up with males, but it is an idea.
But what if he's a very sexually attractive, like very sturdy, like little dapper young fellow?
I would
He's
not
very,
fuck
like,
any guys. I can't get it up with males, so you can stop with that. I'm totally hetero, really. But you all
would
can
you
be
do-
gay. It's okay with me. But it's not a subject for me that I find too interesting. They're just trying to make me look bad, I think, by letting you talk about that. So perhaps it's better to talk about all the other subjects, infinite other subjects, to create a better timeline.
Trying to make you look bad?
What? You are trying
You're
to make...
saying try to make you look bad?
They are trying to make me look bad, perhaps, not you all, by letting you talk about homosexuality, perhaps transgenderism, that's another thing, and racism and homophobia, instead of who the depopulators are, what we can do about directed energy weapon torture, what our options are.
You by directed energy weapons?
What? What's your question?
You still be hit by directed energy weapons.
At the moment, perhaps a little nervousness and stuff, but at the moment I'm not directly attacked, no. No, I definitely feel it if I would be.
When was the last time that you were directly attacked?
Well, they can give a lot of artificial fear also. But yesterday in bed, when I lie on my...
But that happened to you too, like the artificial fear and shit?
Yeah. Panic attacks, like very sort of, they lasted very little in time duration, but they were very intense, like over the top, over the board intense, like unlike anything. It was not only intense, but it was also hallucinatory, because the way it was intense, it just made me think that the end of the world, or like just everything.
They made me feel like that too. They made me feel like I was gonna get a heart attack.
Well, to answer your question, last night I was still attacked with these directed energy weapons, and they attack me. It's done automatically when I lie down on my left side, and these attacks start on the left temple of my forehead, and I can hear them.
Have you ever considered that happening? Like it's more demonic or psychic, or you think it's like absolute like technology?
It's totally AI, the voice of God weapon. It's synthetic telepathy, as described in the Mijdrecht patent, which describes remotely monitoring and altering of brainwaves, and a patent is not granted unless it's a working device.
So wait, do you think they want to kill us or no?
Well, I think they don't know that we exist.
Gave you a heart attack. They couldn't have just gave you like a heart attack with DWs like a long time ago, but they keep you alive for a long while.
93% chance they want to kill us because they want to do that to 93% of the world's global population. So 93% chance they want to do it to you as well.
If they wanted to kill you, they wouldn't have done that a long time ago, wouldn't they?
No. They want to get rid of 93% of the world's global population. If they would want someone dead, they can definitely achieve it with the directed energy weapons. They can kill them instantly. So they're trying to rub in that.
Why prolong like what you're going through, or what I'm going through, or what a bunch of other people are going through? Why do they do this shit for like 20 years on until you die? Why don't they just kill you right away with directed energy weapons?
Well, one reason can be that they are homosexual and they are attracted to me. Or that I do say sensible things that are worth pursuing for them if they want to save themselves as well. So perhaps I do fit in more with it, with their program than many other people. Otherwise I would have been dead. There must be a reason that I'm still alive. Why? Why?
Yeah, why do you think the reason as to why you're still alive is though?
Perhaps because I smoke and they want to promote smoking to depopulate the earth.
What?
I'm smoking a peace pipe. This Twiga pipe, meerschaum leather-clad pipe.
Yeah, but how does that, okay, so you're smoking a pipe, and because you smoke a pipe, they don't want to kill you?
Right.
Like, I mean, come on, you must be trolling right now. Why do you think they're still keeping you alive?
Yeah, so Rodent, are you saying you're a TI?
Because I'm no threat to too few amount of viewers. So it just proves, if you look at my amount of viewers, then they say, oh wow, the anti-global government has no viewers, no members. There is no anti-global government, no opposition. So we all have to help kill ourselves and depopulate ourselves in teams.
Logic, how much acid did you drop?
Acid, never acid, only mushrooms. Happy Hawaiians and
mushrooms too. Mushrooms can really fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
The wall was vibrating. The cloth was breathing.
Yeah, everything breathes. The walls breathe, your fingers breathe, you look at the TV, it all comes alive. It's crazy.
My asshole breathes, my dick comes alive.
So, Project, do you think they don't want to kill you because they want to have sex with you, or what?
Well, actually, I don't know, but one idea is that they want to torture me and to be an example to the people. Tell them not to go press charges against people that advocate depopulating Earth in their book quotes.
How can you press charges against them? They're above the law.
Well, basically the police have to allow you your right to press charges against people that have incited to commit genocide. That's also in the Genocide Convention.
You can't touch them, and no matter if you press charges or not, I mean, you can't do it. This Illuminati, Jews, fucking Masons, whatever, they're untouchable, dude. They're above the law. It doesn't, forget about the law, dude. Forget about the law.
Nobody believes that, do they? Do you really believe that? Do you think they're not caught if they cut you up on the street with a webcam on their ass or something?
They're far above the law, dude. The people who control everything at the top, they're far above the law.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go take a nap. Is that alright?
Yeah, go for it.
No, you may not. You have to stay with us forever. No, I'm kidding. If you want to take a nap, well, if you have to, okay. But thanks for your input. And have a wonderful nap and
like 30 minutes or some shit.
Perhaps some precognitive visions that can help us out.
But it's too much for me to bear when you said that they only keep you alive because you promote unhealthy lifestyle of drug addict who is addicted to smoking hash or like something like that, because you don't actually promote it, because I mean you don't have many viewers, and you don't have, I'm guessing that you don't have a lot of friends in your life, and why would they keep you alive just to see you pumping like smoke into your veins?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Hash is not physically addictive, though the tobacco, which narrows down your consciousness, is. So alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine narrow down your consciousness, which is what they want, to be able to brain control us more and to lose self-control. They want to have control. They don't want us to have control. But yeah, drugs are a cool subject as well, because they are using these prescription drugs to depopulate the earth. And first you have these Rockefeller drug laws blocking all these natural cures. The real medicine is blocked, basically. You need a doctor's prescription for heroin in the form of codeine or other chemical cancer-causing prescription drugs. But it's only one small part of their whole depopulation. So we have to think big and think about space travel also. Are they fucking us? Is space travel possible or not? What do you think? Is space travel possible?
Is space travel possible?
Yeah.
No, not now, at least.
Not now, but if you're just talking about in general, I don't see why not if we can get up there in the first place.
Wow, that's you flabbergast me. I'm totally amazed. You think that space travel is not possible? Is that correct?
No.
Are you talking to me or to the other guy?
To both of you, so perhaps you can both answer first. Whoever.
Yeah, okay, I guess I'll go first. I mean, if we can even get there in the first place, then maybe not, as my friend said, maybe not now, but maybe in the future, I don't know.
Yeah, basically because not only there's like that Van Allen belt or whatever, but also people did not get to Mars. They didn't even get to the moon. So how can they travel if they didn't even travel to such a short distance? We would be sending lots of not lots of, but I mean we would be sending crews to like to some other planets. We can't travel far enough in space. We can only travel like we can't even travel to Mars. So I mean it's so rudimentary right now that like I don't think that you should give a lot of money to in the form of taxation or something to these space programs, because I think lots of it is just again a way to just fool the populace. And I think that there may be like some legit space programs, but they are not like the expeditions to some planets, and they're not. I don't know. I mean, I know that we have to have like the satellites for the internet, but I mean that's about it. I mean, I don't think that space exploration right now is any sort of like it's not on the to-do list, because like with all this like third world immigration and all this sort of other issues, who would want to go to space? Should we send like I don't know Shakwanda or like Jamal or like somebody else to space, or like maybe we should send like some other people who do not even share our culture with us to space, so that we can make them our heroes. I mean, what's the point of space exploration if down here lots of immigrants like destroy the basically destroy the countries.
Right. Well, that's an idea, of course. Why didn't they go back to the moon? Why is there no camera, 720p camera on the moon, making a shot of Earth? You have these supposed satellites with these black and white pictures. Oh, the cat did something. Never mind. I think, however, satellites may be real. That we can see the Astra satellite from Earth. They are geostationary, so the stars would make a sort of circle movement, while the satellites are dots that are geostationary. Though they could also be geostationary stars or whatever. So I haven't done enough research to say satellites are real or fake either. But these images of Earth also that I've shown, it's weird that the US looks very big on one image and on the other it looks a lot smaller. That's impossible because they're both supposed NASA images of Earth. So then people start to wonder, hey, is there something going on or whatever with these Freemasons, which are Luciferians, or Freemasons are Luciferians of NASA. Or rather,
but wasn't Lucifer like a good guy?
Well, I think nobody thinks it was a guy or a personification. That, some people might, but most people think that it was a fallen angel and all that bullshit. So that's all religious BS, which is just another waste of time. So I think it's better to keep it real and to look at to hear new information about her. About her hoaxes and false flag attacks.
Yeah, I think that we should actually let some of the third world immigration in some other places, because Germany, for example, is overburdened with immigrants. And why do other places like Saudi Arabia, or maybe places like, I don't know, Russia or Hungary, why do not they let these refugees in? Because we can actually, these refugees, they are not very united. They are very divisive. There is no real cohesion among them. So if you separate like one group here, one group there, they won't be causing any trouble basically. If you just it would be like another government program that can actually fail, because these refugees, they may get uppity and they wouldn't want to leave for this or that country. But I think if we all send them to Narnia, not to Narnia maybe, but I mean to some places like Narnia, some good places. Yes, I mean, it wouldn't be any worse than it is right now. And I think that they will find that in Narnia, they won't act as complete like mongoloids. They would act like a very decent human being. They may actually be domesticated or assimilated into that culture. I use the word domestication, but I don't think that there is anything wrong with the domestication, because we are all domesticated animals essentially. Like humans, we have like our animal soul, our human spirit, but we also have sort of like animal parts of our brain, mammalian, reptilian, and all this sort of stuff. So I don't see anything wrong with being an animal, especially since we are above animals and we are very smart. Essentially, we'll have like a godlike almost consciousness. And these refugees, they are very underdeveloped, and they have yet a long way to go if they think that it's okay to to rape a woman just because she looks sexually attractive or something, or like to flip out when they see like that their team that they're rooted for is losing. I mean, I think they have a long way to go. As for the rest of humanity, they all have a long way to go. And obviously, I mean, once you go to Narnia, you will realize that you actually really like it there, and you won't hanker after some other places. You will basically just like it so much there that I mean, who would like a country that's filled with like unicorns, and these unicorns, they also happen to have like a portable or added on strap-ons and dildos, and who would want to have such a good country? Because like if we somehow can promote homosexuality, I'm not sure even if it's like suggestible, but I guess that some people may be open to suggestions. Like for example, if you just give it a try I think you would like it because, for example, it all depends on the person who you are engaging in sex with, and these refugees, they may actually be a good platform, not platform, but they may be a good start where to try and depopulate the earth. Because, for example, I don't think that we should subsidize essentially people who commit a lot of violent crimes. And maybe some of them are like good people, but a lot of them are also like very bad people who would do anything to you if they have a chance. Like, for example, they always say like that you punching down on them or punching them down by saying that because they are essentially in worse conditions than you are or something like this. But I think that right now they have a way very easy access to these countries, these very rich and expensive countries, and they only come there for the welfare. And since they're not putting any effort to to get rich, or not to get rich, but basically to save up some money and to go and move to these countries, even though it was easier for them than, for example, for some of the white people in the first place. I think that these people, they're basically like they shouldn't be allowed basically in the countries. If they are allowed, I mean, you take like a huge enough number, maybe more than 100 people per month into your country, and they will end up destroying you. But if you can somehow distribute them to other countries, it may actually turn out well. But right now it doesn't pan out well because these people are like they're used as basically a biological weapon of sorts, or some sort of weaponry for these New World Order Illuminati type people who really want just to bring the chaos in so that they can promote some sort of solution to this chaos, so that they can basically implement their own policies. They can implement the surveillance program where you will be watched or something. I think they already can hijack your camera. They can actually access your internet without you even knowing. They can access your computer. They can do many things that are against the privacy, that are in direct violation of your privacy. And they do not feel any qualms about the infringing upon your upon your rights, and I just think that the people are willing dupes. These immigrants, they are willing dupes, and they do not understand. They feel like that they are not at home. For example, in Germany, even though Germans treat them very, very well, they feel like that they need to have their own house, their own state almost. It may also cause like a conflict, but not only racial conflict, but they may also want to try and organize their own state, because basically having immigrants of this kind of level of education and intelligence is like having a second deep state within your state. So I guess that if people can just let them live in some countries, if some countries can let them in, like for example Saudi Arabia or like Israel or something. I'm not sure. I think Israel actually letting in these immigrants, and there's a huge opposition to this among Israeli people, which I can totally understand. But at the same time, well, what did you expect? These people, they only come for a good life. And they not only they come for good life, they do not. I don't think that they come from a place of sorrow or suffering, any real suffering. I think they just want to be religious, and that's it. I don't think that there's anything much to be said. And they like to fuck and procreate, breed in the process. So if these immigrants will gain lots of footing in more countries, in more countries. If
there will be like a huge stream in all of the countries, I guess it would mean like total collapse of civilization as we know it, because, and this is what they plan, but if they really plan this sort of future for us, I think they're very short-sighted, myopic, and they do not understand that they will destroy themselves eventually in the process. But at the same time, I'm not sure about the history of all these secret societies, because they have been for a very long time. They have been active for a very long time, so they are pretty smart. And I guess that they will try to pull off something very spectacular this year. I guess that once again they will reveal a little bit more of themselves to us, so that we can get to know them. And I don't know, it may turn out that they're all just a bunch of reptilian people who just, I don't know, shed their skin in plain view or something, shed their scales, and sooner or later, I guess. But this year will be a very promising year.
Okay, wonderfully spoken. Wow. I had to turn on my microphone. Wonderfully spoken, thank you. So that was Ave, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you think about all this, Anonymous? Because I think I'm going to get some Hüttenkäse and tea. So then you all have to fill the broadcast with talk about any subject for universal peace for the timeline we all so much desire. So take it away, Anonymous and Ave.
Universal peace is it would be a very nice thing. However, I think it's just how do you want to say, not like a fantasy, maybe almost kind of like wishful thinking. I just think human nature is fundamentally flawed, and I don't think there's any hope in this world. I really think everything is kaput.
Okay, yeah, everything is kaput, but at the same time, at every point in history, people thought that everything will go to shit, and it somehow didn't go to shit. But right now, it's just because we have the technology, we have this global, I don't know what to call it, globalization in industrial complex or something, I don't know. That may, like, a globalist industrial complex, that may and that may like be the downfall of humanity, only because it's not really natural for people to come together, sort of, and to live a very long time among the people of different cultures. I guess it's very easy to be with your own folks if they are like if they are not very sort of apey, for example.
Why did he do that though? How did the AI just...
Yo, I want to go to Narnia tonight.
Yeah, but I need a lover.
Yeah, I guess.
So will you come and be my lover?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting proposal, because I think that you can't just have like one finger in your butthole. You have.
Yeah, I need something big inside of it.
Yeah, you have to have, like that guy who is like Indian guy. What's his name? Aziz something. What's his face? The guy who like who was with some chick and he gave her the claw. The claw was like the 2 fingers in her mouth or something. He put 2 fingers in her mouth, and he actually made her suck his dick. And before that, he actually ate her out. But basically, she said that it was unwarranted. Afterwards, in the hindsight, she decided to turn 180 and just completely cut block the guy, and also try to try to play the victim card like a lot of women do when they really do not know whether or not they want to have sex. And I mean the claw. I mean when somebody sticks a hand in your mouth, and maybe they will try and stick another hand in your asshole, and somehow these hands they can reach each other and hold hands in agreement. It will be very peaceful. I mean, if only somebody as well practiced as some kind of like a proctologist and some, I don't know what you call the doctor who attends to your sort of dental health, like sort of not dental health, but maybe like the mouth, throat sort of area.
Mm-hmm. Я хочу, чтобы ты взял мое говно.
Yes, yes, you have a very good Russian, I guess. Russian, yeah.
Спасибо большое.
I think essentially, like, don't you think that Prologic may also be in Narnia?
Может.
Yeah, I think so too.
Может. How do you say it maybe? Is it может быть?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. You got it right down to the T.
There you go. I'm starting to learn a little bit because of my sexy lover.
Yes.
And all I need is just a good. I just need a good hui.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad that you didn't call my hui mudak right now, because when you called my hui mudak the first time, I felt offended. And like, I would say that sex is magic, my dick is magical, your ass is magical, your dick is also, I guess, magical. Yeah.
А ты мой любовник.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta do a little bit of black magic, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you gotta like, right?
Get really, really dirty, huh?
Yeah, get really dirty with like some really nice immigrant or some really, really nice like African guy or something. Because they know a lot more about magic, especially black magic, than we do. And we have to learn from them.
А я хочу, чтобы ты пришел и трахнул меня.
T5 foam. I think I smell the smell of your butthole. I think I smell the smell of your cologne, and it's not in cologne. Well, what can I say? Would you actually tap Prologic's asshole? Yo?
Я хочу... Нет.
I think he's been a bit negative and hypocritical, right? When he says that he doesn't want to do it with guys.
What's that, sorry?
Well, I think Prologic just has to learn it the hard way, so to speak. Some people, when they get raped, they actually... So, to learn some people and to convert to our particular anus worshiping religion, maybe sometimes a little bit forceful penetration. Forceful penetration can be good, I guess, right?
Yeah, sorry, I had to enter back into the static. Now it's gone, so it's okay. Yeah, and when you do it to me, it's good.
Yeah, I know.
It's it makes me happy. It gives me a lot of pleasure, and I like it when it bleeds after.
Yeah. It's very red. It's like almost like I have a Bloody Mary or something.
Like the only problem I have is that sometimes the shit it just leaks out. It just starts, you know.
Well, it's kind of like a chocolate cake or like chocolate. It's almost like an icing on the cake because you can have your Bloody Mary and eat it too because you can have a chocolate.
Oh, so you want so would you like to eat my gavron?
Well, I was very tempted, but I'm not sure that I would go as far.
What about torts as mango?
Well, if it's served with some mongolized like peacocks, if it's served with some mongolized human parts, if you stuff some mongolized human parts in there, I would actually love to eat your mongoloid cake.
Okay, but listen to this. Я хочу, чтобы ты. Hold on, wait. It would be a dream come true if you. No, actually, I know a Mongolian guy. He's a very nice guy. He bakes good mango cakes. Mongol.
Oh yeah, isn't that Mongolian guy? He's also like very he used to sniff glue, and he also like he's also had a black girlfriend, and he was like that guy, right?
Może.
I'm back. I really love to hear you guys speak about all this stuff, but I didn't hear anything you said. Well, I was in the kitchen. I also used the bathroom. What was the other point I wanted to make? Yeah, but I haven't eaten anything yet all day, so this Hutenkäse with stuff really tastes nice. But yeah, perhaps I can hear it back. But what have you discussed? And had any interesting discussion? Did you have any interesting discussion with Ave Satanas?
Oh no? Yeah, I just say that sometimes well, would you really like to know? I like to sometimes. I told him sometimes I need something big down the butthole. And yeah, sometimes that's why I asked my Ljubovnik Ave to come to my place and to give me something that I need.
Well, yeah. Perhaps they're more into that than I am, basically. So then it's hopeful that they call back, join the conversation again. Because I think this is really changing the timeline, basically.
Yeah.
Though it's hard to say what the effect will be. It's, yeah, perhaps one day it will have millions of views, you know. Perhaps they'll see this as something really awesome. That these people were able to speak so freely about subjects and really say something that matters, you know, like get a radiological water filter and survive this third Jesuit World War and stuff like that. So then they made a difference. They saved lives, their own lives, other people's lives. That makes sense. What some people are doing simply doesn't make any sense to me. But it's still funny to observe it and to learn from it, I think. So yeah, are you pro or anti-global government, or do you have no opinion about that?
I think this government, this new world order, I think they're gonna be successful in their agenda.
Why do you think they will be successful? Do you think they will be successful in getting rid of 93% of the world's global population? And how?
not sure. I'm not entirely sure about reduction of population, but I do believe that they will implement a new world order. Like, I just believe it will happen.
De Neuordnung.
What's that?
The Third Reich, basically. A global government, you mean? Right? Sorry, I have to eat something, you know. And what do you think about Apollo moon landings, real or fake?
Fake.
Fake, oh wow. I don't know if the majority of us humans think that at the moment. It's possible. And what do you think of President Donald Trump?
Just another puppet.
You seem intelligent. Did you study at any university or something?
Just natural intelligence. Going to university won't make you smarter. I think maybe you'll have more knowledge, but you won't increase your IQ. I think IQ is something that you're born. I mean, obviously it's something that you're born with, but I mean, it's like, you know, people talk about being educated and stuff like this and blah blah blah. I mean, yes, education I guess is important. I mean, it's a good thing to to have knowledge and like this, but going to university will not make you smart. I mean, it's either you're smart or you're not. Like, you're either born smart or you're fucking stupid. I mean, that's just how it is.
Well, it's just a test. I think I disagree with you on this, but the other things I agree on you with. So that's more important.
Which part do you disagree?
I think that the person's environment also determines how high their IQ is, how good their problem-solving capability is. So that the university can help increase their IQ. It can also decrease it.
I think it has a factor, yeah.
Sorry? You think it has a what?
A factor, yeah. Like, it's part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting another pipe. And yeah, it doesn't really matter where you are, basically. Have you watched any of my broadcasts on YouTube?
I've seen, I think it was one or two where I saw a bit of it.
And
not live, but like on your channel, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm now broadcasting live on the same channel. So, but then you get feedback if you tune into it. I'm now doing a slideshow. This is the anti-Freemasonry slideshow. Because I'm not wearing any pants, because pants can cause cancer and stuff. Because it interrupts the blood flow, and especially tight underwear. And bras can cause cancer. Many people don't know that. So I'm just trying to educate others and also learn new stuff to save the maximum number of human lives. And I think that makes sense. It's more fun than doing nothing or just going along with the depopulation and doing stupid things. That sucks. So it may sound kind of childlike and simple, but I think that's the essence of survival is all, or survival is all, is part of what I usually advocate. So I want good for all people who have not tortured me. That includes all lesbians, transgenders, all homosexuals, all Jewish people, and all people who have not tortured me in reality, even criminals. They have rights, and everybody has equal rights. And the government has been infiltrated by a couple of bad guys. The Jesuits and Masons, of course. And they have these directed energy weapons, so it will take time before the people have the same and start making these halos around their heads to protect their brainwave and to start thinking for themselves again. But I think it will eventually happen, and that the time period that a global government could have happened maybe behind us already. So I don't agree that that it's unavoidable or that death is inevitable. And I know it's bullshit because everything is energy, everything is possible. So I do have an open mind, but on the other hand, I've already discovered some facts that have programmed me and have programmed myself. So there's also an interesting picture I'm showing to the audience right now, but you may not be able to see that. So yeah, I think that the people need to unite against a global government and against depopulating the earth, and these two go hand in hand. I would not be against a global government chosen by and for the people unless it does not have any benefit for the people. So governments are there to protect and serve the people, not for any other reasons, certainly not to depopulate them with their own tax money. Then they'll get shot themselves if they try too hard. So yeah, but perhaps I can ask you more. Do you have a website or anything? You are anonymous. You call yourself anonymous. Are you wearing an anonymous mask? Do you have a website?
No.
Or are you just a real anonymous, not the anonymous, fake anonymous, CIA anonymous?
I just use the anonymous. I don't know what other name to use.
You too's? Do you mean the spy plane? To use?
To use. Yeah, I don't know what other name to use.
Oh, okay, I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Alright. So no website.
No.
Are there any websites or channels you really like or anything? Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I'm fully aware of about the Jews controlling the world. I used to be a somebody, but I'm a nobody. I'm a TI as well, and I fucked my life. Basically, this is my story. On the serious part, I'm still trying to understand. So you know, so, I know your last name's Kaufman, correct?
Sorry, I didn't understand that. You are things not me, correct?
So no, I said what's your first name? Sorry.
Ulrich.
Ulrich?
Yeah.
Ulrich?
Ulrich, in originally German. My mother used to call me Uli, that's an abbreviation of Ulrich. Uli, Bully, etc. But now I use my real name, that's also in my passport, and that's Ulrich.
Ulrich? Ulrich?
Yeah, and I've changed my glamour name into Rico for a while, but you can call me anything you like, basically. Welcome back, Ave.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
hope you all are feeling comfortable. So you guys don't use alcohol or drugs? Zero of that?
For me, it's zero. Just cigarettes.
And you, Ave?
Kick in that habit good. I think I will kick it for good, but I'm not sure about that because if only I've had an access to more sort of better drugs, to drugs of quality, of high quality. But I don't think that I have an access to high quality drugs, and I don't want to end up my life or like to spend my life on some kind of shitty ass drug, with some kind of shitty ass drug. I don't know.
You can grow your own legal drugs, of course. You can grow your own. That's perhaps best. Perhaps we should all be growing loads of vegetables and stuff. See it grow and feel the good courgette and tomato, etc. with our hands that we have grown ourselves from this little seed that we have put somewhere into the ground. I have done this with eco tomato from the Dutch Albert Heijn, And I first germinated it, and then I put it in a pot, and now it's a wonderful plant, giving me one tomato. I had one tomato from it. And I don't know if it's dead now, like my palm tree. I used to have a real palm tree, and that died in the corner of my room over there. It's fake.
But don't you think that like chemical psychoactives that are artificially created and not extracted from the plants, so to speak, don't you think that they can get you into Narnia quickly, quicker at least?
Into Narnia?
Yeah.
Can you explain what into Narnia? Interns, you mean electroshocked and shit?
Well, I mean, it can get you like can get you elevated to that high state of mind where you can expand your consciousness. It can expand your consciousness more, no?
It's a proven fact that cannabis expands your consciousness, yes. And other drugs. And cannabis is not physically addictive, which other drugs are. So that's a misconception many people have about cannabis, that it's physically addictive. They have that from heroin somehow. They think it's the same, but it's not. Though it's both a natural plant. Cannabis is not physically addictive, like tobacco and the killer cancer-causing alcohol and caffeine, for example. I don't know about caffeine, but that's the most drank beverage on earth, I think, coffee. And I don't drink coffee. I seldom drink a little espresso and stuff with baklava and or halva. That's nice. So I do like nice stuff as well. I think most people do. But so I'm surprised that many people think that the New World Order seems to be unavoidable. Did you both think a New World Order, global government, is unavoidable?
Yes, actually, yes.
I agree.
Well, I should be able to convince you that it's not unavoidable. The Jesuits were expelled from many countries before. And if they've planned this world war over Iran, and people see them coming, of course. There are smart people out there that will do anything to survive and save their families from these nutcases that want to depopulate them and impose the totalitarian Luciferian global government upon the people of planet Earth.
I think essentially all the smart people, if they don't have any moral sort of obligations or any sort of morals in a broad sense of term, like they don't, for example, value people of low intelligence a lot or something. They don't see the value in human life if it's life sort of not as productive or maybe not as accomplished as theirs. These people, they will get, if they don't have, of course, any moral qualms about it, they will get into groups and they will try to dominate other people and they will actually seek out people who are smart as they are, and they will just join them, and they will basically trying to rule other people through their managerial abilities, sort of, and it's sort of they will try to form some sort of world government. But the Jews actually are very good at it. The Jews are very sort of good at forming this sort of unity and cohesion within themselves. And this is why a lot of people, for example, think that the Jews play the main role or one of the main roles in this global government.
I'm the one and only dominator.
Where?
Yes. You were talking about the Jewish people.
Yeah.
Many Jesuits are Jewish. There's a list of Jewish Jesuits on subvertednation.net or something.
Yeah, but Jesuits have been kicked out of many countries because they were perceived as subversive element there.
and also like Jews have been kicked out of many countries because they also have been incriminated with subversion or sort of subversive tactics. I think that the word subversion is not very well defined, and anybody can put their own sort of meaning behind this word. But at the same time, subversion is basically like subversion is when you employ some sort of tactics or do something that is contrary to the popular narrative and something that only small amount of people can actually appreciate, and you try to impose it on a lot of people, I think.
I read here on wiki under subversion, Latin subvertere, overthrow. So they're trying to overthrow governments and shit. And they're still trying to do that, according to lots of sources. Refers to a process by which the values and principles of a system in place are contradicted or reversed, an attempt to transform the established social order and its structures of power, authority, hierarchy, and norm social. Well, I associate it with the deep state, with their shadow government. Do you think that do you both think, or do you think that there is a shadow government waiting? Yeah. Well.
Yes.
And who is forming that shadow government? Is it Jesuit orchestrated to get real more power themselves, or is there someone else orchestrating it all? And who are to be accused? Who are the real sickos ruining it for everyone? If anyone,
maybe aliens. But again, we don't have a substantial proof for like aliens ruling the world. So I don't think I'm going out on a limb here.
I think that's their second cover is aliens. The first is God, basically the neural network ruining it. They have planned a fake alien invasion, Project Bluebeam, to depopulate 500 million and then make themselves look like the heroes when they've supposedly freed us from these aliens with the nasty directed energy torture weapons. Sorry? Yes?
No, I'm just thinking about, like sometimes they make movies to sort of dismantle some of the beliefs. So, like, for example, the Prometheus. Have you watched Prometheus?
I think I watched it, yeah. It was a pretty good movie with interesting graphics also. But I don't remember the story very well.
Yeah, and the Alien Covenant or something. These two movies, they were basically set out in such a way as to discredit the idea of God and like to introduce more of an atheistic approach to these topics, because aliens are more something you can't really relate to it, and it's like
I think we may not just We may not just assume that there is something higher than the humans out there, that we are subjects, that we are subjugated to a higher being. I think there is nothing higher than the humans. That's why I always begin my broadcast with greeting superior beings, greeting supreme being. And the human race should recognize the whole human race should unite to control these factors that control aging before they die themselves. That would be most logical. And then we have to show to ourselves that we can be good and do what's right and logical. Stop foolish behavior, basically.
I just think that humans have been conditioned to think about God in certain terms, and they try to dismantle the idea of God, like with the movies, like, for example, the TV show called Bates Motel, because it makes fun of people who believe in something. Basically, is essentially, I mean, the end of the movie, the moral of the story is that you can't like make reality bend reality to serve your need, sort of. But the movies, like, for example, the Aliens, the first two movies, they may be were the first like movies about this sort of aliens or alien invasion, where they try to instill in people fear in people that can actually be aliens, and that people may be abducted or like
they can be invaded by aliens, attacked by aliens, and maybe they did it only because they tried some new government military sort of programs where they actually experimented on people in a way, so that people would be already conditioned to some response, so that they, for example, maybe maybe start blaming it on not on the government but on some kind of aliens or something. So they maybe did maybe one of the reasons that they actually like put out these sort of movies, the first Aliens, for example, like in the 80s, was because there was not any imminent threat of alien invasion. It was just because there were a lot of cases of people who claimed to have been abducted by military guys or like some shady military sketchy characters, but they wanted because, for example, they may have been experimented using and they have been used drugs on, or they have been hit with some kind of weapons. They may see like distortions of reality, where they may have seen hallucinations, and they wanted to sort of to shift the people's attention and focus on something, so that they may be when given being administered these drugs upon, they may think that these are not exactly like military personnel or like actual people, but they may see them as aliens, sort of. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that that can be part of the programming, part of dehumanization also, to make them kill themselves, to make them kill their fellow humans, and then call it honorable when they fight wars, basically, which it is not. We should program ourselves to avoid any wars, bloody wars, and to spread intelligence to make our fellow humans more intelligent. But they usually do the opposite. They create a problem and then also offer the solution, and then keep people in cycles of poverty. You have the hungersite.com where people can click for free sponsoring of giving us food. But do they also teach them how to fish, how to grow food themselves, so that they are not dependent anymore on a hand that feeds them?
I think sometimes I can't make a recommendation. I can't recommend it for anyone, but sometimes for me, like if you could just put your hand. Hold on, is Ave still here?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay, you could just put your hand near your ass and just like shit in your hands. It's like free chocolate. You don't have to go to the store. You don't have to buy chocolate from stores. It comes out of your ass for free. What's wrong with it?
Is that part of demoralization or something?
What do you mean?
Well, I prefer chocolate. That's what I mean. I prefer real chocolate.
I prefer the one that comes from my bottom.
Belgian with cacao in it instead of caca.
No, but I prefer the caca.
You prefer cacao.
The caca's number one.
Well, whatever. Some people are into this type of thing, that's true. But I think most people are not into it. I found the previous conversation more interesting. Some actual stuff to think about was said in it. It's really, well, some people would say it's blowing my mind that people from different countries can actually have thought about this stuff, and they already have an opinion also. Though I am a bit disappointed about people thinking that global government is inevitable, and even satanic Luciferian totalitarian regime government is inevitable. They've just given up, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, watching your view, governor. Okay. Anyways, Ave, what do you think about this?
About the satanic government, you mean, or what?
Oh,
Yes. What's your opinion on this?
Have most people given up on preventing global government from being imposed upon them? A global totalitarian government?
Well, as long as people are occupied with more entertainment and more information to absorb, as long as they have sensory overload or some information overload, like buffer intake overload or something, they will have they will never move beyond their own like habits. They will just be stuck in one hole, sort of, so to speak, and it's very easy to control people right now. I think they say that like right now we have like many different narratives that go that do not go with a main narrative, but at the same time, I think it's like it become increasingly easier for some people who have the money, supply, who have the resources to control other people, and these people are possessed by the spirit of Jezebel, and so to speak, as Christians would call it, and they just. I don't think that, for example, like I don't think that giving up and not being in control of your life is a very good option. I think the more you can control, the more powerful you feel, and this is why like these people do it, I guess, because maybe I think it's very thrilling to have people do things for them, to pull the levers, to push the buttons, to be able to actually do it. And
I think that I think that Prometheus may be an attempt to hide true abiogenesis, the way humans were formed, created, if you will, by evolution, and not by a creator, but by millions of years of evolution, that they're trying to always cover that up, to keep that knowledge to themselves, to have an advantage, because knowledge is power. So they're misinforming people. Yeah?
Do you know who found out the DNA, the scientist who found out DNA, like the... Yeah, what was his name? Francis Crick or what?
No, I have no idea.
No, okay.
I can Google it fast.
What?
DNA deoxyribonucleic acid is a threat. It doesn't say who invented it. I have the Wikipedia, Free CIA and Vatican edited encyclopedia right here. Okay. What do you think his name is? Francis?
I think Francis Crick or something.
Francis Crick, yeah, you're correct. First identified by James Watson and Francis Crick at the Cavendish Laboratory.
I think he later in life, I don't know why, maybe he took some acid or something, but he developed a theory that the human the life on Earth was brought from space, basically from asteroids or from some dust from space or something like this, and it wasn't altogether evolutionary. It was brought on the Earth basically by the means of some kind of panspermia. If you Google panspermia, I think he adhered to that theory, but it was created by Aristotle. By Aristotle, he was the first one who actually thought that the human life originated from the outer space extraterrestrial source.
Well, they might advocate it a bit just because it goes against evolution theory or evolution science.
Do you think that a lot of people do not believe in evolution? Do you think that, like, I know, like, if you look at videos of Richard Dawkins, where he speaks with some Christian fundamentalists, and they do not believe in evolution. They just keep on parroting their lines about that evolution is not completely like proven or something. But do you think that a lot of people, for example, in USA, believe in evolution, or they do not believe in evolution?
I think scientists know it's real, but that what people say they believe and what they really believe are often two different things as well. So that it may be pretty hard nowadays with the directed energy weapons to find out what people really believe. And believing is stupid, knowing is smart. I think that's even more important.
Well, believing is just when you don't have sufficient evidence for something and you assume some things, and they may not be true or not true. It's not like it's a hypothesis or a conjecture. It's not scientifically something that scientifically proven, because per se you don't have, like, we can't really, for example, I can't like look really inside my own psyche. I can't sort of see myself from the outside perspective as much. I can't just like dismantle or like disassemble my psyche into different parts. I can't like for example, maybe some people can, and they actually create dissociate identity disorder in some people.
Multiple identity disorder also, but just to be able to create this sort of compartments within your psyche does not mean that you actually understand how you can actually create it, or it doesn't tell you much about the reality of human psyche, because it only tells you that there can be many different like variables that are at play here, and that can actually be and it's not easy, for example, to pinpoint something about your psychology. Like the psychologists right now are like quacks basically, or like almost like psychiatrists or something. They do not know much. They have lots of these sort of beliefs, in the same way that maybe religious people have some sort of beliefs. But at the same time, I mean, it's very hard to actually take a step back and sort of do something about your psyche. You can do something about your psyche, but you can't essentially transform it somewhat. You can modify it in some way, but you can't transform it in a way like there is no like sex change operation for your psyche. You can like change your sex, but you can't change your sort of gender. You can't change your role or your mentality that much, because I think so. I think that they may have like female brains, for example, like some of the males, but it's only because it's more like anomaly, and it's not like not a way to go, but it's not even something worth really discussing. I think it's not worth anything. Oh God. No, it sounds like some kind of bullshit. Hmm. Yeah, because they want to bank us basically. No, I just told you. No, I mean like that they want to bank us as if they want to like fuck us, basically mind fuck us, right?
Yeah, but no one seems to care about your channel much because you only get like 4 views per like video. But I found you somehow. I wrote something like gang stalking or like directed energy weapon and like Masons, and then I somehow got like one of your videos. I just woke up. How long did I sleep for? How long did I sleep for?
I'm gonna take a guess, like maybe an hour.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not. I can't. Maybe, but who knows? Something like that.
And forward sucks. They don't name the Jew.
Oh wow, I didn't have my
Okay.
mic on, so people couldn't hear what I was saying.
Forwards.
Oh fuck.
Because I was talking to the Jew, if it's a controlled opposition website or whatever by the Jews. I mean, it's you know what I mean, Rodent. Like, they're not they're not gonna like. It's like what is it? What's the right word? Is it gatekeeping?
Yes, gatekeeper.
They're also
Yeah.
called gatekeepers, control the position. And I've done several broadcasts about them, and also Eric John Phelps and Christopher Green and many others, which seem to be real opposition to this global government of the Jesuits and Masons.
Logic, did you watch Jim Hall?
But are control the position. Did I watch Jim Hall? Who?
Yeah, Jim Hall or Return of PMTMR, or like a guy who goes by the name. I think they deleted his channels. Right now there are only a bunch of videos left, but he has his channel titled Mr. George Jettison. I think is still up. They deleted his channels. They all like
Now he's gone from YouTube, but he used to put out some interesting videos about basically the Jewish question and like a bit about Jesuits, I guess, a bit about the secret societies, a bit about sort of this targeting. He didn't call it targeting, but he called it like demonic attacks or something. But yeah, now he's completely gone. I don't think he's the control the position. You should.
Yeah, you won't find that guy anymore.
Could you spell his name? Then I can Google it. If he's gone, then I can still find it and catch the pages, perhaps.
Yeah, it's if it's Jim Howe, it's like Jim plus Howe, like together, like the word Jim. I mean, the name Jim and
J-I-M.
H-A-O
or something. How?
H-O-W, and it's not separated, so it's
Okay.
It's like one word. You can find some videos that way.
Prologic.
Then I'm seeing some of his videos. Yeah, I'm there.
How long have you lived with like under DWs?
Can you rephrase the question?
How many years have you been living with DW?
Since I was living in Amsterdam, so that's more than 10 years.
Jesus.
Non-stop?
I didn't.
Is it like non-stop DWs?
With directed energy weapons, for sure, yes. I've determined that by putting my hand on the attacked body part and then feeling these attacks on my hand, so I'm 100% certain myself that these were directed energy weapon attacks. And they're using wireless energy, not microwaves. And
what did you experience gang stalking?
Yeah, people had thrown rocks at me and my father when walking down the street, so often they pretend of targeted individuals that they're pedophiles, which I'm not. And single women are welcome. So they have to be between 16 and 60, I found out. I thought it was 18, but in the Netherlands, 16, and you have to be 18 to do a porn movie. So that means that you probably have these underage whores in Amsterdam as well. And I think David Duke and others are very much against that, because that fits in with depopulating the earth, only having sex when you're married. Most people are not married, and they first want to try each other so that they know they're compatible, and they don't marry someone and then find out that they're completely incompatible and stuff. So, I mean, sexually, sometimes the penis is too big, or the vagina is too small, or whatever, and then they rip. And
do you get suicidal?
No, because of my self-hypnosis, I can't become suicidal no matter how bad it gets. Well, but I can kill other people.
Suicidal like on the whole 10 years.
No, I've never killed anyone, and most people never have.
No, I'm not talking about killing. How don't you want to kill yourself after going through this for 10 years?
Well, yeah, that's what I want to know. Why there's nobody else that can do anything about this, and that's mainly because
why don't you want to kill yourself? How come you're not suicidal?
Going
through this 10 years.
Well, we can still sleep for the rest of eternity when we die. That's nothingness basically, so it's not really sleeping. There is no hereafter, so I figure it's best to stick around as long as I can have orgasms and love people and also eat food. I think I'm gonna stay alive. So that's why I haven't attempted to suicide myself. So it's best to program yourself never to do it. And these pedos trying to depopulate Earth would love to see everybody kill themselves and turn them into zombies that are nuked with their Quanop 88 of the Pentagon plan to nuke the zombie hordes. Would you believe it? On CNN, I've shown it several times. Spock's slogan is just a pro-war slogan, you could argue.
Hold on, I'll call you guys back.
Yeah, I just sent you a video, you together, you both. It's a nice documentary about how they try to obfuscate our history and diminish and downplay the role that the black people actually played in the creation of our civilization. It's a good documentary, you should definitely watch it.
And which documentary is that?
It's called Hidden Colors.
Hidden Colors.
I sent
It's a good song.
I sent link to the group chat.
Hidden Colors series. Dope. You sent it to the group chat, okay? And I can check that as well.
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? What?
What's your favorite like porn actress?
I don't know that many names. I know Peter North is a quite famous porn star. I'd have to check my porn directory, but I can show that on YouTube. So actually, is there any porn star I remember? I used to work in a video store. No, I only know my previous two girlfriends, basically. And Held.
While we're on the subject of porn stars, I wanted to say that, like in Russia, like there will be like a election, and the next president of Russia will be the same one. So nothing will change. Putin will still be the president of Russia. So he will be president almost, I think, till the day that he dies. And I think that even though like he may not be the worst kind of president or the worst kind of ruler in Russia, I think that just by the fact that he stayed in power for so long can be like an indication that soon Russia will sort of fall apart or something. Like it won't sustain itself. I think that soon Russia will collapse, and it won't be like the next big thing, the next big empire. I think that Iran, if USA wouldn't tamper with it, it can be a great new sort of player on the world, in the world politics. But Russia wouldn't survive, I guess. We need actually an influx of refugees or some other people of colors or people of like basically maybe from different countries, so that we can actually like bring about some changes in Russia.
I think it's more of a global thing, basically, in that they are just puppets. So it's about Jesuits and Masons, and what we can do to really change this timeline, I think. And I'm open to suggestions. Putin, Vladimir Putin. I think they also have good intelligence, basically, but they're controlled by the same Jesuits and Masons. You can see Donald Trump on the dinner table of the Jesuits with Hillary, and.
But don't you think that Hillary actually almost beat him in the third debate, in the third presidential debate? Don't you think that she actually like sort of beat him? Like she had more energy, more stamina. She had better arguments. She seemed better. She came off better than he.
Perhaps many people missed that debate, but I doubt it also. And people may also go in there with a certain mindset already pre-programmed.
Yeah.
So they already agree with one candidate and disagree with the other one, though it's both the left-right paradigm. There is no left, no right. They're both Jesuit-controlled, basically. But I think perhaps Trump less than Hillary. Let's hope that he doesn't, that he knows to avoid a world war like previous President Barack Obama over Iran and whatever. That he creates universal peace and stops spending so much on the military and more money on control of the factors that control aging, achieving negligible senescence, some call it. But these people should share everything they know with the rest of the world, otherwise they will perish and die as well, of course, if that control of the factors that control aging is not achieved during their lifetime. But that's what it's about. It's the most important thing. Your life is the most important thing. So I think I agree with you guys on a lot of things, basically. And are you part of any movement, political or religious or anything?
No. No.
And anonymous?
No.
No pro-gay rights and stuff like that movements, perhaps?
Well, I'm actually a part of LGBT QP community, but I'm not very active because I'm sort of passive, very passive in that community. I guess I can say that. But that's it. I mean, that's about it. I try to educate people on LGBTQP issues. But they don't seem to even want to know it, and they seem to downplay it, even though like some countries really need like a big LGBTQ support from foreign countries so that we can live peacefully and happily with our neighbors, even though they do not want us to live peacefully and in harmony, because they themselves they may have some hang-ups or prejudices. Maybe it's from religion, maybe it's from natural aversion to homosexual acts. I have no idea, but I mean, some people tried homosexual acts in public and they got beaten up. Basically, they got jumped. But I don't think there's anything wrong with because it's not like some nudity. It doesn't invade your space. It doesn't actually infringe upon your rights. It's
you could argue it's the opposite of war. Making love, loving each other is a good thing, and that should be promoted. And war should be trashed, basically. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yes, and especially if it happens in parks where there are lots of trees. It's very beautiful scenery. There's very beautiful scenery, and people get together and they just start caressing each other, and they start to give each other some talks, and they just basically get down and dirty, and it's pretty good. It's very natural. I think it should be encouraged because the more pornography and the more sex, the more smart there is in the world, the better it is for people, because they can actually express their own natural tendencies often, and they can actually be satisfied, and when they are satisfied they can move on with their life, and they can have more success in the world if they are sort of satisfied. But if they are not satisfied, they are more than likely not to have anything done in their life.
Yeah, I just think now everybody could go swimming if they like, or whatever. They can do whatever they like, but they are trying to play us out against each other, and we should end all wars. War is always a crime, and it costs human life and money, and it's impeding progress towards controlling the factors that control aging, especially a world war. should be totally avoided, and the opposite, universal peace, perfect society, should be created, and control of these factors that control aging before we all fucking die. And death is inevitable as long as they have not got control of the factors that control aging yet. So at the moment, it's still a true saying, death is inevitable. What's her
Would
name?
you say that it would be better for you to actually believe in God and the afterlife, even though to actually make a try, because that way you won't be neurotic about your freaking life conditions right now, and you won't be neurotic about death and the inevitable, like clock ticking away the time of your life.
I want to do whatever is necessary to achieve it, and I think that's logical. And it's Razakel, rapster on YouTube, female rapper, also some nice tunes, I think.
Sorry,
well, first I have to calm down. Yeah?
What's the female rapper?
Razakel, but I listen to, lately I've not been listening to Razakel, usually I listen to other music. I like anything from classical, the orb also, and usually it doesn't matter to me whether the artist is satanic, gay, or Jewish. I just play tunes that I like, and sometimes I test out new stuff because people can download people's lives' work via the torrents, basically. And then it is good to use VPN, basically, if you're downloading torrents. But you can download these musicians and movies, their whole life work, basically, all the collected works of Steven Spielberg or some other director you like. And their discographies. So what music do you guys like? Any particular stars or musicians?
Oh, well, you should try like Yonder Boy.
Yoga Boy?
No, Yonder Boy, as if yonder, meaning there. Yonder. You know the word yonder? Y-O-N-D-E-R.
Yonder Boy. All right.
Yeah, he's a very good Hungarian sort of musician. Right now we have somebody else. Greetings, Supreme Being.
Oh, wow. With video. Cool. And who is this? I can see somebody on video.
Greetings.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Your mic is working now. Hi. Let's see if I can make it full screen. On YouTube it doesn't, on Skype it doesn't show your name. Though I remember chatting with you before and then the mic was not working. Hi, how are you doing? It's many things going on at the same time. This is real life broadcast, so anything can happen. Meteors can crash in upon us all and shit you wouldn't believe, perhaps. So yeah, I didn't like my precognitive vision of me sitting on the bed and everything, boom, gone, basically. So the 4th of February I might go into the cellar when that big asteroid is coming near Earth, but that's kind of paranoid. Usually NASA is right about these bigger ones. They've done their calculations, they don't want to die of an asteroid or meteorite or whatever impact. They don't want to die, period. And the people that want to come back as deadly viruses, like Prince Philip, still haven't killed themselves either. So that's a good question. Why haven't you killed yourself yet? Perhaps we should ask them that. Or would they think that's not a nice question?
If you're a TI, do you consider your life as ruined?
Well, I think to the extent that it's ruinable, yeah, that they've ruined my life, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
but on the other hand, I maintain my integrity and I did the right thing, so I'm kind of proud of myself and I can feel good about myself, basically. But also the way I'm feeling, it's simply not right. and I should be together with some hot chick and not by myself sitting here. Though it's cool that I found you guys and that I can now chat with other people, because otherwise I get too lonely and too alone basically. But it would be nice if some chicks could contact as well. Are you all homosexuals, or
Yeah.
I just like big homo dick inside of me from time to time.
Well, I'm not homosexual, but I like the gay community. I like their parties and stuff like that. The love parade and house music. Though I'm a bit afraid to go there, but I like to see it on TV, and I like that the Sunshine tune and other tunes of the Love Parade. And yeah, it's just part of the disco culture basically. Also, when you're going to a hetero disco, I think that they dance beautifully, and I like their culture. Perhaps they're a bit of a minority, like me and other targeted individuals, and like black people and Jewish people, and though if they are less than 0.2% of the world's global population, they control more than 90% of the mainstream media. They're not really a minority, are they?
You see, what's his name? Lot of current logic. Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that, only depopulating the earth. And you are? You are saying, sorry, I interrupted you.
Don't have a problem. We should, I think this culture is one of those cultures that should be spread, because even though it's sort of like depopulation, it's also sort of like very peaceful, very loving culture, and people can also, not only they can see males as their competitors, but they can learn to see males as their lovers. And this is essential to not only see a competitor in your fellow human being, but also see your partner, and see and stoke those love flames a little bit, to provoke such a fire in your loins. Then you can actually have a very big, very strong earning for a bit of your own human being, because, for example, like through having sex with, when males have sex with males, it also instills in them a pride in themselves, because they can actually begin to see themselves as sexual beings, and then they can actually like it can translate to transmit to other areas of their life, and because the self-esteem is one of the biggest factors, just like factors like other factors like IQ, in whether or not you succeed in life.
Well, I love, like I said, I love all people who haven't tortured me. Like I love animals, like cats, not sexually, but I just like to see them have a good time. I don't like to see them suffer or die. And I think that is in all humans, basically. They've tried to get rid of that in everybody, to play them out against each other and depopulate them. But they cannot, because our drive to survive is too strong. And we already made a good society. Our ancestors did. They fought hard for our freedom, and we shouldn't let them down either. Some people died for our freedom. So it's also about maintaining the freedom that we still have left, basically. So I think they shouldn't come down too hard on racists and homophobic people and on the others either. There aren't that many anyway. But in the mainstream media, you only see negativity blown up. Everything that goes wrong, that's news, and everything that went right is usually not reported. So that creates a one-sided image on their cornea, on their eyelid, or whatever. In the brain. This is all programming you could... Hey, that's cool. You are standing outside. Do we see some snow? Is your mic also working? That's some real snow right there. Are you from Ontario, Canada or something? I think your mic is also working, perhaps. He's not hearing my question. Somebody's typing. But there are how many people in this chat right now? I'm doing this for the first time like this.
Also almost like 4 people. Or maybe 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Okay, and it's cool that there's video with it. Yeah, but I think that wouldn't work. That heterosexuals, no. Of course, there are some, what are they called? Not polysexuals, bisexuals that like both.
Pansexuals, I think. Pansexuals are the people who like almost like everybody. Not everybody, but they think that your personality is more important than your gender or sex is.
Well, it's also about sexual preference. So on the other hand, I think that there should not be any extra cost when they allow transgender people into the military. That the penises have to be separated from the vaginas so that rape, etc. cannot occur. That's the reason they do it in the first place, I imagine. The separation of the male and the female toilets and locker rooms and stuff. So there shouldn't be any extra cost for that. And that they did this just to have extra costs, basically. That's why they blew it up in the mainstream media. And there are people that believe that Donald Trump is a woman in reality. Do you all think that as well, or not?
I never heard such a theory, but I heard that Ivanka Trump may be like a man, but I don't think that. I mean, how can it be possible? Maybe Lady Gaga is in reality a transsexual or something like this, but I don't think that she, like Ivanka Trump, is a transsexual. I guess not. But you know, like about Lady Gaga, she's friends with Marina Abramovich, and did you know about her art?
Well, I jotted down one thing about it. I can quickly find it probably. Control F and then search on Abramovich. The spirit cooking lady, they call her. Am I right?
Yeah. She was involved in that shit, yeah.
This makes my blood boil because I know this blood is from people who were ritually sacrificed by ... Marina Abramovich spirit cooking YouTube, uploaded by Anonymous America.
But why do you think she's out in the open?
I think she doesn't look good because she drinks blood of babies, if she does, überhaupt. That blood drinkers also die, and that it doesn't help to control the factors that control aging, because all these people that blood-bathed, like royalty, British royalty and others, and all the people that drank infant blood and ate infants, they all died. So it's not fucking helping, you know, it's just stupid. And some people consider it insane.
Yeah, but I mean, I meant to say, why did she decide to practice a code in the open?
I think it doesn't fit in with bestowing maximum fulfillment upon the maximum amount of people. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, is the Spock quote. I did some writing about that as well, because you could interpret it like the needs of the few are outweighed by the needs of the many, so then they should give them their lives in a bloody war and shit and kill their fellow humans. So they always split it up in groups, and they're never talking about the human race. Also, the Satanists are usually left out of every conversation. It's always about the Jesuits or the Christians or the Muslims or the Freemasons, the Illuminati, etc. So that's also interesting. They're just afraid to talk about it, I guess. And perhaps with good reason, if their brain controlled by Satanists. Satanic Jesuit cannibals. But it's going on without their permission or knowledge, without their knowledge or consent. So, yeah, I can talk about anything else. We can ask each other any question.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that a lot of abuse in lesbian, for example, community is covered up?
I'm not aware. Is there a lot of abuse in the lesbian community?
Yeah.
Have they been abused by males that turn them into lesbians or something?
No, they have been abused by themselves. They abuse each other.
Well, I think some of them were abused by males as well, perhaps. But I haven't heard about it, and I doubt it also. I think most of them do not abuse each other, and they can have a very wonderful life together if they're both lesbian and they're attracted to one another.
But
it's the same as with heteros.
How many of your friends are homosexual?
Well, if I have 0 friends, then there would be 0.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, but I have a lot of homosexual friends, and I know like some of my lady friends, they told me pretty gruesome stories about how some of the lesbians treat each other. So and some of the homosexuals that I've known, they are also sort of they also told me a lot of shit about how they do not care about infecting each other with HIV and AIDS, and there is a lot of that shit going on.
Just use colloidal silver, then you cannot infect each other. It kills the AIDS virus, Ebola. It's proven by the STRA, Strategic Threat Reduction Agency, colloidal silver. And if you use that, you also have to use probiotics to restore the good bacteria in your gut to immunize yourself against their designer viruses. Yeah.
So you're proposing the theory that HIV does not exist?
That what does... That HIV...
AIDS does not exist.
No, I'm not proposing that theory at all. I'm convinced that it does exist, and it's much closer to being a pandemic than Ebola will ever be, qua numbers. So I think that that it's real, but that you can kill it with colloidal silver in sufficient amounts, which you can generate yourself with a cheap silver generator from eBay, $15, I think, with some silver rods even. And then you only need aqua purificata, the cleanest water, and then you put these rods in the water and then it generates the silver. It's just that known electrolysis process or whatever. And also the expensive ones use the same method, so... And don't overdo it, and it must be clean, otherwise you might get Argeria turn into a blue smurf person, basically. Your skin becomes blue. I don't know if that's where blue blood came from, that's an idea. But somehow I don't really care. So Wonder Boy, I should check out Wonder Boy. Am I now only chatting with Anonymous again? The other guy seemed to have no mic. Are you still there, Anonymous?
I'm still here, man. Is Ollie still there or no?
At the moment, I don't know how to check. I'm using this new Skype like this for the first time. I have
the insider version?
Yeah, the preview version, basically. I also installed the other ones because I had some problems with this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, then I can click. Oh, there we saw a list. So then I have to click somewhere.
What happened?
Эй, Аве,
Yeah.
я хочу, чтобы ты съел мое говно. Okay?
Nice.
They don't know.
Я хочу, чтобы ты приехал, ну, пришел
Either one of those.
I don't understand Russian or whatever language it is, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, you got it right.
I think, do you know a bit of Ukrainian? You can also say something in Ukrainian and in Polish, and we can enrich our audience with our knowledge of languages, right?
Yeah, okay, I'll say it in Ukraine. Я хочу, щоб ти приїхав до мене, і я хочу, щоб ти поцілував мою задницю, і how do I say this? I don't even know. I can't even speak my own language.
Yes.
Well, if I'd want to learn a language, I think I could use the online teaching methods. And there's also an app that you can use to learn languages.
I see. And Ave.
But what did he just say? I'm curious to know what he was saying.
I think he was saying that he wants me to come to his house and bring him some nice fruits with me or something.
Yeah. Я хочу, щоб ти прийшов до моєї хату. Я хочу, щоб ти їбав мене. Once again, I have a present.
Shit.
Condoms can also help make it slide, is my idea. But they might not like it. Let it slide, get it right.
Did you have a chance to speak to Victor ProLogic?
I think he was not hearing me, or his mic was not working. That was the guy with the video, with the live video. Do any of you have a video camera? That would be cool.
No.
And the others don't have a live video feed? For the broadcast, it would be cooler.
My video would like lag everything. It would be very taxing on the internet, the Skype conversation.
But you could give it a try. I think that it would work. Also, if you have a slow PC. It would be cool, and you can see me. You can see me on my channel, BC Hoffman. So you're all in the live broadcast also.
Yeah.
Which may not get many viewers, but who knows? Perhaps one day it will.
Look, how many viewers are right now?
Oh, I'd have to check. Probably something like 4 or something. I can check. Just a moment. Where would be the best place to check? Video manager, perhaps. Oh, but I want to keep it linked to Yonder Boy. I don't know him yet.
Do you have any ideas how to advertise your channel?
4 views at the moment. To advertise my channel. No, I don't really know how to do that.
I have an idea for you. What?
Okay.
I have an idea for your project. Do you know Stefan Molyneux?
I've heard about him. I haven't seen many of his videos. One of them, he seems to be pretty articulate.
You can try and try to contact him and try to get on his podcast, on his show. And if you get on his show, it will, if you actually find a topic that will interest him or something, and he can get you on his show and he can debate you. It will, even if you fail at debating him, it will create, it will bring more viewers to your channel.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the tip. Thank you.
Ave. Yeah. I want to see if you'll understand this. Я хочу, щоб ти приїхав до мене, і я теж думаю, що ти мусиш мене їбати так сильно, що я ніколи не забуду.
Yes. Right now he's saying how good it is to live in his country and how good it is to celebrate his right his rights, basically.
Yes, my country. I'm from Narnia, so it's a blessing.
Yes.
Abe, ты понимаешь, что я говорю?
Yes, I understand everything perfectly.
I don't know, dude. I have nothing else better to say.
Well, you can show me your asylum, and we can actually like I can move to your Narnia, to your pretty little Narnia. If you just show me your asylum.
My what?
Your asylum.
Ass?
ASLAN.
Oh, I don't even know what that means.
But you live in Narnia. Everybody knows who Aslan is.
Oh, okay, I get it. А я хочу, чтобы ты взял мой торт.
Yeah, he's saying that he can treat me to a nice hot cake, cake.
Вот, yeah, cupcakes, torte, like with a mango.
Yeah, mango.
Mango.
Can
I'm telling you, man. I'm not a degenerate. I'm a nice guy. I like to make cakes with mango.
Perhaps it would be an idea if you visit each other, if you're close to each other. But can any of you explain to me why the C banned the word fetus, for example, from being used?
Why do all faggots get AIDS?
If you use colloidal silver, you don't, so it's not true.
Huh?
I think it's not true. If you use colloidal silver and probiotics, actually, not antibiotics.
No probiotic. Did you take dicks up the ass, then you got AIDS, then you started taking colloidal silver and it went away? How do you know?
Then you cannot get AIDS. And I'm hetero. The other guys are homosexuals, perhaps.
Well, why do all faggots get AIDS then?
Because the CIA created it in Fort Detrick. And it works.
Cool story, bro. Cool story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so, because it's useful. If it's true, then... well, it's just a theory, of course. I said it kind of like satire type of idea. We're not bound to any broadcast form. We can say whatever we like.
Victor.
Negligible acquiescence.
Я думаю, что это приносит пользу их здоровью и их жизни. Почему нет? Как только вы его получите, он больше не придете без... Okay, basically I'm trying to say is once they get it, they don't have to worry about anything anymore. It's done with. They're like what's it called? They're bug catchers. What's that saying?
Пацаны, у меня игра в покер идет, можете не говорить так громко?
Wow.
Так притащи своих друзей сюда.
Не, я помню, притащил своих друзей, а Андрей что-то замутил фиговое, поэтому я больше друзей не тащу.
Он больше так не будет делать.
Я не верю. Все, пацаны, давайте.
Well, it's a shame, I guess.
Wouldn't be back on. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, what's going on in the world? Do you think there's anything we should know about? Anything you all want to tell the world about? Or if you don't have anything, what's your definition of peace? Anybody care to respond? Is anybody still there? Ave is still there, I think.
Yes.
You have a dog or a cat?
Yes. Definition of peace is when you have everybody working in line and everybody is sharing the same paradigm, sharing the same thinking, sharing the same values and the same culture. This is only when you will have peace, and maybe even sharing like the same or more or less the same ethnic background or something. Also, I guess it can also be a factor.
Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's one idea. So there must be sort of uniformity. That's one idea, that people have to be able to live in peace together. But I think that can be achieved with synthetic telepathy, that everybody can be monitored and then nobody can ever hurt or kill another fellow human being. And it can also be used to prevent torture instead of to torture. So I think some things should just be turned around a little bit, and then everything will be fine.
What do you think about Khazarian tribe, like Khazars or Khazars or whatever you call them?
I've never thought about them before, and I don't even know what they are. The Khazaren, the Huguenots.
Yeah, Khazar. They had a country called Kazakhstan, or like Kazakhstan or something like this, and they were very powerful Mongolian empire that were about to take over the world and make everybody into Mongoloids essentially, and Mongolize.
My first girlfriend was Turkish. Perhaps that answers your question, because I read here Khazars were semi-nomadic Turkic people. So probably I love them. They're great. Awesome. So I don't know much about history because I've refused to learn what others wrote, because history is written by the victor. You know, the winners write it all.
Yeah, by Victor.
So
it's a very funny name, right? The name Victor, right?
But it is good to know what most people know about or think to know about history. Victor is Prince used the name Victor. My name is Victor. It's supposedly an altar or something, a pseudonym or whatever he wrote under. And he was supposedly killed as well. But more about it in my previous broadcasts. I enjoyed Prince also. I still listen regularly to some of his tunes. And I hope he's still alive, and so is Michael Jackson, and perhaps even David Bowie. And In Excess singer Mike Hutchins, and Robert Palmer, who died quite young, and recent Cranberries singer death, though she was 46 and healthy. These can all be Illuminati blood oath murders. But that's another video I made. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Very cool songs she had there. I hope that you miss me. Story, something like. But now I'm not your wife, and I hope that you're sorry for the way you treated me. Blah 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 blah. For not adoring me. That's why I'm not your wife. People are stranger. People deranged, though. People are strange. Oh God, I can't sing worth of shit, I guess. Yeah, she had some good songs. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it brings many fond memories to my heart. Just thinking about how good were the old days. I used to I used to not have a care in the world. I could just have sex with almost anybody. But right now, I had to limit my sexual appetite a bit.
and it sucks because I mean, but yeah, I should have never tried riding bareback on somebody. I mean, it was a mistake that I made. Because like everybody has their own diseases which they may not even know about, and like in our homosexual little like community, people they also like to infect other people with their own diseases, or they do not care about infecting people with diseases. So I mean, in some cases, like it's not very trustworthy to have a sex with homosexual.
Don't let them play you out against each other. Some people are really bad. Don't become like them. Stay good and proud of yourself. It's the best way to be. Yeah, you wanted to say more? It's you were on a roll there. Please continue.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't actually on a roll. I just made an observation that like a lot of people they're very negligent and they're very sort of selfish when it comes to their health. If their health is already like deteriorated, they do not care about other people's health. Like some of these homosexual guys, they just want to infect world with their disease basically, to do the same thing that the world did to them, to inflict pain and suffering on others. And they also have the guys of a very like pretty looking, kind of attractive and kind-hearted guys. But at the same time, if you look closer, if you just look inside not only their gaping asshole, but also inside of their minds, you will find that they also have lots of hate towards humanity, and they also like to wreak havoc and to bring like chaos into the world. And they are very willing dupes. They are very they're one of the favorite pets of the establishment, and they're very
Yes.
Who's watching soccer tonight?
Я хочу, чтобы вы сделали мое говно. It will make me happy.
No, I'm not a big fan of football, soccer. Dutch call it football.
Yeah, do you think it's because it's kind of analogous to the way that people interact with each other? I mean, they're only concerned about one ball, and they're not. They fixated on this ball as though it's some kind of I don't know, a prize or something, and they do not want to look at something else. Maybe it's also like the same way that the government, the same attitude that the government has towards people of like, for example, people of color or homosexual people, and it's the same attitude that people have towards the ball that they roll on this on the playing field. Is yeah, I mean, a lot of like homosexuals are like very sick people, but at the same time, lots of them are very kind people. So you should probably have sex with them. You should try to turn like other heterosexual males into being homosexual, and then you should try to take advantage of them. Like for example, if I were like with you, I would try and convert you to my particular sexuality, to my sexual preference. I would try to like because I don't think that you have such a number of diseases like some of these actual proliferated homosexuals have, because you seem like a very clean, innocent boy, and why wouldn't I want to basically destroy your butt cheeks and to put my dick inside your butt?
I think there are plenty of homosexuals that would like that, and that they find each other via dating sites and stuff. So this is more about other stuff.
But they are disease-ridden.
Everybody has stuff inside, and it's usually suppressed by their immune system, etc. I've heard it all before, but everybody is still dying, so they don't know the answer either. You could argue that they argue it's love. So then we can all be silent for the rest of the day and love it all.
Yes. Universal peace, love, prosperity, etc. Yeah, I know.
Good worse, vice versa. There, yeah. I like it as well. It's better than the opposite, which can also be good thoughts. That we can always think of the opposite or the next idea, even if they generate any ideas inside of us that we don't like. And expanding your consciousness, then you just have more ideas to choose from, you know. And when I'm more relaxed, then I think I can speak better, and then I say more things that are useful and lift this broadcast so high. Yeah.
Are you high now? Are you warmed right now?
Am I wired and warmed right now?
No, are you high right now? Like, are you really like high?
Hein?
Yeah, like high.
High. Oh, high. More like stoned, probably. It's mostly tobacco with hash, so that's bad, you could argue.
Oh, yeah, cool. yeah, you should totally get fucked up on some other substances. You have lots of substances in Netherlands. Why you don't like try to use them all? Why don't you do them all?
Well, I don't want to use chemicals because they have a synergistic effect with cancer-causing electromagnetic radiation, according to Dr. Cyril Smith. So I try to avoid chemical drugs. And other than that, I've tried some other natural stuff, but I think cannabis is just best. It enhances the colors. It makes me feel wonderful, and I just shouldn't overdo the tobacco. But at the moment, I want to feel like this, and otherwise I wouldn't do it. So it's just the thing for me. Also, I have a doctor's prescription for the use of cannabis. So then, what's the use of doing anything else? It's fine with me. But what I'm saying is, I want to. I think that I'm brain controlled as well. That I haven't been getting into anti-Jesuit and anti-Masonic websites. Perhaps there is not as much of that around as there is anti-Semitism and racist and homophobic stuff on the web. But I think they're cracking down on that to a certain extent, and I agree with that to a certain extent. But to put these old ladies in jail in Germany, I think that's going a bit too far.
Yes, I think that if other Jews will not like try and prevent it in some way or protest it, they will be seen as complicit in the crime that is committed against this old lady just because she voiced unpopular opinion. And maybe some people will start waking up, and they will actually see that these Jews, they actually like to control other people and like to suppress the freedom of speech, like for almost no reason at all. I mean, who cares? If she has good arguments, she has good arguments. But if she don't, I mean, they only like they have to learn the art of ignoring. If they can't ignore people who bug them, what's that make them? It makes them almost like
reactive,
sort of inferior. Huh?
It makes them reactive rather than proactive. Proactive.
Yeah, it makes them. Yeah, it makes them sort of seem like inferior or something to others. And when people start picking up on that, I guess they will not like it. If the people actually pick up on something, I have no idea what's going on through people's minds. I mean,
yeah, good point. Yeah. So you guys, so I asked that question. So you guys wouldn't want any females to be in this broadcast, I guess. But females can also contact me. You are not.
I mean it's okay with us, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna jump on them and just hump them or something, dry hump them, I guess. We wouldn't, because we actually prefer the company of each other and of different males. Because I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of like a very good way to separate yourself from the rest of the herd by going your own way, sort of being homosexual without women. Like, who is those dirty old hacks anyway? I mean, even if they're old, even if they're sort of fruitful and their loins are like, if their loins are filled with fire or something, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they want to fornicate. It doesn't necessarily mean that they want to eat her gooch or something. I mean, it's the same thing that like some homosexuals may think that if they're attractive, then other homosexuals will definitely like them and want to basically fill their house full of cum and shit. I don't know.
Well, I'd love to have sex with some females, but I cannot get it up with males. So, but the other guys, I hope we can talk about other stuff going on in the world. I read here, for example, Pence says U.S. Embassy to make Jerusalem move next year on faster timetable. So they want to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and would that make it the capital of Israel? And some people are heavily against that. And what do you guys think? Should it move there, and should Jerusalem become the capital of Israel? But I think what I can say is that I find it weird the way President Trump shouldn't determine what the capital of Israel is. The Israelis should do that for themselves.
You know what I think that we have almost like a smoking gun evidence that President Trump is anti-Semitic, because he probably wants to move the country to Jerusalem so that it will raise more resentment towards the Jews in like Arabic countries and maybe some other countries, because I mean, Jews will get more smug about it, and they will start to treat Palestinians even worse. They will think that, oh my God, Daddy Trump is backing us, etc. And Palestinians will think that, oh my God, they're taking over our religious sites. What can we do about it? Let's kill them. Oh fuck, no, ouch, ouch, ouch. And it will be a big mess. I think that maybe Trump was like, I don't know, maybe Trump was just trying to cause more resentment towards the Jews. It may be a possibility, even though it's a very slim one, because, I mean, it's not like Trump is not very pro-Jewish also. He's sort of pro-Jewish, openly pro-Jewish. But I don't know if he's playing 3D chess or something. I think not. But at the same time, you can think that it kind of makes me think that there may be some underlying psychological implications and like some issue that the Trump wanted to. Maybe he were like maybe the Jews were bullies to him sometime in the past, and he decided to take it out on them or something. In a very underhanded way, like because he learned it from the Jews themselves, with whom he spent lots of time with.
Я прошу, чтобы пригнать эшелоны Авеа и ездить на нем как нет завтра.
Oh, боже мой! Oh my God!
Perhaps it can be in English. I don't understand Russian. And my question is, have you guys heard of Donald Trump's Jewish cabal?
Donald Trump's Jewish cabal?
Jewish cabal, yes. There's a whole list on the internet. This is on the ZOG, Zionist Occupied Government.info website, who controls Donald Trump. And then we see that he has lots of people, Jewish people, backing him, and they call it a Jewish cabal even.
Yeah, but at the same time, some Jews may not want Israel. They may want it to their advantage, or to advantage of the Jews as a whole, for Israel to be destroyed. They may want to move like Jews to some other areas, or to spread them throughout the world more, sort of, for some reason. For example, maybe they need them someplace else. Maybe the Israel is not really working now. So,
if they are the best men for the job, then I don't have a problem with it. But if it's favoritism. They are placed there by other people to depopulate the earth, then I'm against that, basically. I don't want to be depopulated, and I want to create a better world and only do things to make it better, not to make it worse than it already is. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess, I guess that the only thing that the Trump himself is depopulated is Ivanka's ass, or like Melania's ass or something.
Oh,
That's he's depopulated.
Are they? Yeah.
I think they are
Did you like
protected. They are protected, and nobody can even get close to them in reality. They have through the wall radar and other stuff, so they protect their own crew. They're tribal. They're Jesuits and Masons, etc. And the president has the protection of the intelligence agencies.
Yeah, you know, if Ivanka Trump does indeed have a dick, I would find that question her
No.
Do you think that Melania Trump looks like an alien because she's kind of stuck in the same squint-eyed look, and she doesn't like have many expressions on her face? Maybe she's alien or something. Maybe she's also had lots of plastic surgery or something. Maybe she was a man once.
Oh, Melania Trump, not Ivanka.
Martin said she was a tranny.
Yeah, you never know about that. Yeah, there's a girl, do you know one good girl on YouTube? Her name is White.
No.
We're getting feedback.
Huh?
Are they?
Yes.
Did you like what I had to say to you in Russian?
Yes. Very good.
Yeah, is it beautiful?
It's very good. In fact, it's so gifted and it's so creative. You really go away with it.
I have to join the Skype. It's the Skype call again. 1 second.
I wonder if she's GMO.
What's about GMOs?
I wonder if she's a genetically modified organism, if programming started in the womb and natural beauties, this beautiful, do not occur naturally. Or if that's all complete BS, basically. I just made it up. But I was talking about Ivanka. Oh, did I make everybody hang up now? That's the wrong thing to say. Hidden colors. Okay. Well, I can try Dr. Cut, but that would be in Dutch, and then I should make a separate broadcast. But I think Ivanka is better looking than Melania. And I haven't watched many pictures of Melania, the president's wife. But also more beautiful than average, I think. I wouldn't say, oh, that's a male for sure or anything. And perhaps this meant like a joke, basically. To see who would go along with the idea that Ivanka Trump is also male. Duh. So I doubt if many people would believe that. And if it's true, actually, I don't know, but I would say 99% chance she's a real female anyway. But theoretically, they can make anything. So they may already be among us, and we don't even know what they are. The nanobots, for example, or the microwaves or scalar waves, etc. So how this happened, I can try to call them back, but perhaps it's better if I go masturbate or something. I think it was nice for a change, but I'd love to chat with other people as well. So for now, I'm gonna make some music, perhaps, and masturbate. So single ladies are welcome also to have sex. Would be awesome. I'd prefer sex without a condom. I still have a condom, but it's better to take a fresh one. If you would like to use a condom, then that's also possible, so I'm very flexible. Yeah, instead of, oh, I can massage your hand. So, let's do it for universal peace.